Meet the all-new WNEM TV5 News app.
There's a shutdown on I-70.
Get breaking news faster. Dive deeper into investigations and get your first alert forecast quicker, all with a single tap. Your news, your way. Always free and easier than ever. Download the all-new WNEM TV5 News app today.
Spring is here and Focus on 5 is ready to get you moving and shaking with more to see, more to do, and fun stories to share. From local flavors to hidden gems, to the people and the places that make this community special. We're bringing the best of Mid-Michigan to you. Get out, explore more, and experience it all with us. Focus on 5 weekdays at 3 right here on WNEM TV5.
Hi, I'm WNEM TV5 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Chris Easlick. Severe weather season is a time you need to be prepared for. Start by downloading the free WNEM TV5 First Alert Weather app. Just scan the QR on your screen. The First Alert Weather team is constantly live streaming, keeping you updated and verifying data across mid-Michigan. You'll get interactive radar, custom alerts made for your location, and real-time updates. The app that comes with your phone doesn't even come close. But most importantly, the First Alert Weather app will help keep you safe when severe weather is a threat.
When you can't find us here, you can find us here or here. With over 13,000 streams in a single day, more people are live streaming WNEM TV5 News than ever. Nearly 80% of our viewers watch on their phones because when news breaks, convenience matters. Stay connected wherever you are. Catch WNEM Weekend News live streams Saturday at 6 p.m. and Sunday at 6:30 p.m. on WNEM.com and the WNEM TV5 News app.
Every first matters.
The first alarm, the first cup of coffee, and that first look at what the day could bring.
And WNEM TV5 is right there with you with your first alert. Breaking overnight to what's happening right now.
Here's your first alert to severe storms.
And your first look at what can impact your morning.
A big crash heading into downtown Flint.
No matter where you choose to watch, WNEM TV5 is here to help you start your day.
Every first, every morning, WNEM TV5 Wake Up. Go ahead, make plans. See what Mother Nature has to say.
Spring can get messy and change quickly. Being first means everything.
Here's a first alert to a fast-moving system.
We track the storms wherever they go, so you don't have to.
Trusted forecast, instant alerts, free on any device.
That's why the TV5 First Alert Weather team is always ready.
Because when severe weather hits, the first alert makes all the difference.
WNEM TV5's First Alert Weather. Coverage you can count on. We now bring you a First Alert Weather Day update.
And good Wednesday evening, Mid-Michigan. Chief Meteorologist Chris Easlick with your Wednesday night's forecast updates. Skies looking a little more dark across parts of Mid-Michigan. And the latest information coming in just a couple of minutes ago is the National Weather Service offices in Detroit and the National Weather Service offices in Gaylord have decided to expand that severe thunderstorm watch into the TV5 viewing area. So a little bit further to the east, that goes until midnight. So it's only being expanded by about an hour. So I do think that says something as far as what we can expect as to maybe the overnight hours, and maybe we can rest a little bit easier after this line moves through. But right now it's been a pretty busy night on the west side of the state. Those storms are just now starting to get into the western portions of areas like Isabella, Gratiot, and Clare County. The primary concern as these storms move through has been the possibility of damaging winds and also hail, but did hear some rumblings that there were at least some reports of, not water spouts, land spout on the west side of the state. So we will watch to see if any of these warnings have any additional information on them. And of course, we will keep tabs on them as well. Right now, the first alert pinpoint Doppler radar, if you go towards the Gratiot and Isabella County area, it does have those storms. We're eliminating a couple of the radar sites to try to get a sharper image here. It does seem like it's that southwest corner of Isabella County. Seems like it's also starting to approach that southwestern corner of Gratiot County as well. See if I can get some information on the warnings themselves. So the two that are, excuse me, in our area are in effect until 8:45 for Gratiot, and then Isabella, that one is until, see if it actually picks up on Isabella here. It might be included in that one for Ingham. So about 8 to 8:45. Seems like it's acting a little weird trying to pick up where that warning is. But either way, pretty noisy night ahead of some of these counties. We did have a warning that was in place for Gratiot County a little bit earlier. That one also for wind and hail. That one now starting to move into what appears to be downtown Saginaw territory. If we take a look on our radar, zooming in a little bit more towards Thomas Township and areas that are just to the west of downtown Saginaw. And we also take a look outside. Certainly has gotten a lot darker here. This is probably impacting areas like Carlton and out by Tittabawassee Road a little bit more. And that McCarty Road area probably raining quite a bit, extending back towards Thomas Township and just to the east of Hemlock, or at least on the east side of town for Hemlock, probably getting the worst of this as far as torrential rain, but this storm is not severe warned. The warnings exist for this storm system that's going into portions of Gratiot County. And taking a look at, excuse me, that warning, yeah, it looks like the one for Isabella, they've lumped in all the way down to Jackson as a part of one warning. And that warning is for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and hail that is slightly less than an inch in diameter. And wind that is about 60 miles per hour. But let me pull up the wind velocity. And that's a pretty good pop of wind just south of Gratiot County. So I will say if you're in the southwest corner here, if you're in areas like Fulton Township, you're probably going to get a pretty good gust of wind here very soon. Taking a look at some of these velocity measurements. Now keep in mind, the radar detects at multiple levels, so some of this may not be getting down to the ground at this speed, but we've got some winds a little bit off the ground that are being detected between about 65 and 75 miles per hour. It is important to note that severe thunderstorm warning that is currently in that area is not marked with a considerable tag or a destructive tag, which means the Weather Service has highlighted their main concern as primarily 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts at the surface. So right now they're not, I apologize, I need to pull that camera back over. Let's go back so I can show you that again. But the fact that they're not issuing a destructive or a considerable warning for this tells me that they're expecting a lot of that wind to remain aloft for now. And it's coming down to the ground closer to 60 miles per hour. But here's some of the velocities, like I was saying. You can actually probably see them now that I've pulled this up. But you're getting a pretty good sample there. So that southwestern section, Gratiot County, Ashley, Ithaca, down towards Fulton. These areas I would get ready, probably get away from windows just to be on the safe side. The wind profile a little bit further north towards Mount Pleasant. It seems like there might be a little signature just to the west of northwest Gratiot County. In this area here, so maybe southern Isabella County gets a pretty good rush of wind here. But this is the motion to that over the last 30 minutes. And here's the big picture here. No warnings extending too far north of Mount Pleasant for now. At least locally, we've got one warning that's just to the west of Clare County That has not been expanded into either Clare or Roscommon County just yet. It is mainly for Gratiot and Isabella for the time being. Let me see if I can pull up our Mount Pleasant camera and move that around a little bit, or see what we can see. So looking pretty dark. Let's see if I can refocus this while we're here. In the meantime, checking the chat out. And then thank you, Kelly, for pointing that out to me, Kelly Jean. Let me see if I can pull that live camera around. Oh, let's see. So we are looking in Mount Pleasant towards Kelly Short Stadium. So we are looking off to the south. So that means we've got to look this way. See if we can auto-focus this a little bit. Maybe get a sharper picture here. Okay, that looks a little bit better. But I'm actually going to flip this around and see if I can go the other direction to get a better view. Looks like we've got a shelf cloud there. I'm going to see if we can get a better view just on the other side of campus. But certainly looks like we've got a shelf cloud building towards there. Little crow on the roof. But that is looking due west right there. See if we can look up a little bit. Tough to tell whether you can see the shelf cloud from there, but that's how Mount Pleasant's looking right now. Radar itself, again, we'll see if there's any changes to that warning near Gratiot County, just because of the wind profile coming through. That storm in Gratiot County, let's see if we can get a motion on that. That is moving east at about 50 to 60 miles per hour, excuse me, moving east at 60. But these storms do have a history of producing 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. And so that tells me that even with that signature of wind that is off the ground, a lot of that may not be making it down to the surface. So there that is, where you're seeing those brighter shades of pink and almost getting into a peach or even yellow color is where we have the strongest winds above the ground. Some of it's south of Gratiot County too, but occasionally storms can tap into some of that wind and bring it down to the surface. So I think we need to watch closely if there's any adjustments to that warning to see if potentially there's any upgrade to a considerable tag. But if you're just joining the stream, we are tracking storms due to the expansion of the severe thunderstorm watch. If you're just joining us, meteorologist Stone Schaefer, nice enough to come back just because we feel like we're going to be streaming for a little bit. So while he gets hooked up, and I'm going to put that radar loop back up just so I can get through the comments section. If you're in Isabella or Gratiot County, or have even been affected by some of these thunderstorms that have been around other parts of the area, again, we had that warning in Gratiot County a little bit earlier on. Let me know what you've been seeing. Kathy's asking about how's Genesee County. I would say within probably the next hour or two. Let me see if we can get a sense of the integrity of that line. I would say you're probably within the next hour, the way this thing has been moving. It's been moving pretty fast. Excuse me. That's why I'm glad Stone's here also. Still can't get rid of this cold completely, but Genesee County, the way this has been moving, it's been moving about 50 to 60 miles per hour. And this was also, This was on the west side of the state, right around the time that we were doing evening extra. So it's moved from Lake Michigan all the way over to 127. I would say within, I guess we could time that. I would say within the last hour to hour and a half. Go ahead, Stone.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I just want to quickly add that, yeah, wind's a concern. I think flooding might become a concern, especially in the Saginaw area. Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
In the township, Kochville Township, rain was almost visibility on my way here was almost zero.
Yeah.
So it's not raining that hard downtown, but on that northern side of town, it is very heavy. The roads are already at least 75 there, 675, I should say, was already starting to get some puddling. So just be careful of that, because this is adding some more rain on top once this line gets here. And that's been really sort of sitting there over Saginaw County since it developed.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit, I wouldn't say severe weather is unexpected, but I am a little bit surprised that they have expanded that watch all the way to the thumb. Not so much because severe weather isn't possible in those areas, just based on past practice with severe thunderstorm watches or even tornado watches. You expect kind of more of a wider spread threat, and the thinking as we've gone throughout today is even if it's relatively speaking, there would be a weakening trend, but there must be at least some confidence that this is going to survive a little bit longer into the night. I think our heat and humidity certainly help with that. Let's check out some of the comments. If you want to add anything, you were talking about some heavy rain. A couple people asking about tornadoes. We're not really anticipating that to be the main threat for tonight.
I think if we were going to see that tornado threat, it would have been more on the western half of this system. Now, could it still happen? We saw it yesterday where it sort of caught us by surprise, but it's a smaller chance. I mentioned this in the 2 p.m. stream a few times. Today's concerns was definitely more of that wind up to 60 to 70 miles per hour and some small hail. Tomorrow, all threats are in play. Just quickly adding, they did just extend that severe thunderstorm warning into Saginaw and Midland counties. That will go until 9:15 p.m. It's wind up to 60 miles per hour and penny-sized hail.
Okay, are they saying what is their speed and track
Let
on
me
that?
pull up the National Weather Service chat.
Yeah, see if you can get me the text info. The reason I'm asking is because the warning in Gratiot, they have that moving off, to the north, to the east at 50.
And this warning is also east at 50.
Okay, so then let's just do a squall track, because I think that's a little bit better. We can capture this line a little bit more, and we'll work out ahead of the line to just try to get ahead of it. But this is moving off to the east. There does seem to be a little bit more of a northeasterly component, so we'll go kind of in that direction. But at 50 miles per hour, this is going to put this in some areas like Alma within, well, it's already on top of you. Let's see, we've got Merrill closer to about 825, Midland about 835, Saginaw closer to 845, Birch Run 850, Bay City 856, and Millington around 905, 910. Now, obviously keep these times general, especially for those of you who are a little bit further away. And always, if you can, work ahead a little bit just in case that time changes as well. But right now, again, to rest any concerns about tornadoes, that is not the main concern at this time. Again, we will be watching here to see if anything pops up.
I was going to say, too, I've been, obviously we've all been keeping a track on it. I haven't really seen much even on the western half of the state in terms of rotation. So I think that's a good thing to see as this line sort of evolves across the region. Is even out west there hasn't been much rotation, where the environment may be a little bit better right now than what it was to the east. Now, this line, like you just mentioned, is surviving pretty well. I think a little bit better than maybe we anticipated, and some of the models definitely anticipated. But still, I think the biggest concern is 60-mile-per-hour winds.
Yep, so Midland and Saginaw, that's going to go until 9:15. So that's going to be the next hour and about 10 minutes or so. I don't think we'll be waiting that long. I think these storms are moving through very quickly. So far, our northern counties, not seeing any warnings being extended into portions of Clare, Roscommon County, at least at this time. Haven't seen anything extended into Shiawassee County. Now, the one thing that I will say is that I did see some chatter that there may have been some land spouts on the west side of the state again. So we will have to be mindful of any reports of that comes in. So if anybody sees something, feel free to say something to us.
And quickly adding, they do have a special weather statement for Ogama, Roscommon, Gladwin counties. That goes until 9:30. It's going to be for wind up to 45 miles per hour.
Okay. And you said that was for where?
Roscommon, Gladwin, and Ogama counties.
So a couple of special weather statements. Okay, so we've got someone saying thunder in Isabella County. A lot of thunder here in Alma, looking at very dark clouds. Will it be severe in Bad Axe tonight? I think that's up for debate, whether this is going to stay severe by the time it gets to the thumb. One reason I'll show you that is we do have the severe weather outlook that is in place for tonight. And I think this illustrates at least some of the thinking from earlier today. I'm not sure if they've updated this.
No,
this looks the
it's
same.
the same.
So this was the severe weather outlook issued earlier for today, for tonight. And so basically everything that is happening right now is fitting with that slight risk. We'll see if that weakening trend that's, in my opinion, being illustrated by the marginal risk a little bit to the east, whether that holds up. So again, I think it's a little bit more up in the air for some of you who are in the thumb as to whether it's going to survive that far. Ian comes up with a question, but I think it's a good point about tomorrow. Curious how you think these storms will affect tomorrow's severe weather. Will it reduce our Cape? I don't necessarily think it will reduce our Cape. We are going to have, and for those of you who don't know what Cape is, that is storm energy. I don't think it's necessarily going to reduce it. What I think could happen, and I don't know if it would be enough to cause, major changes or anything like that, but one of the things that has been uncertain as we've gone throughout the last couple of days when it comes to this Wednesday and Thursday forecast is these thunderstorm complexes, and let me just pull the radar back up. These thunderstorm complexes, they release a lot of wind and they release a lot of cool air along with that. And what they leave is outflow boundaries. And so those outflow boundaries, sort of the leftovers after storms leave an area, where those outflow boundaries are, they can mess with where the storms go. They can take what appears to be a given track, let's say on Tuesday, and then it plays out Wednesday, and all of a sudden what we expected for Thursday goes a little bit further to the north, goes a little bit further to the south, and it causes some of those changes. So I don't necessarily think, Stone, this is going to reduce our energy.
No.
I think what is passing through now may affect our Cape a little bit more later tonight.
I was going to say, it will influence if we have a secondary wave tonight, because there was some signals on some forecasting models that there's another area of sort of showers and thunderstorms that could be severe in Iowa, Arkansas right now that's trying to move up towards mid-Michigan. I think the question will be how much energy is there by the time it gets here. I doubt there's going to be much with this line moving through pretty healthy. It's just going to, sort of absorb much of that energy. But for tomorrow, in terms of what this impact this has, we have another sunny day tomorrow. We have more warm temperatures. We almost reset at times tomorrow. So that is why I think, even though tonight may look like, or you might feel like it might influence tomorrow, I think we run into the issue where we sort of get a reset before that cold front.
Yeah, and Scott's pointing out, Scott's one of our reliable streamers from the thumb. He said he got about 4+ inches of rain in Ubley yesterday. And I did get a picture of that. Let me see if, I hope, if I change over, is that going to affect the stream, do you think?
Sorry, I can't remember.
A little informal
Sometimes
here.
Sometimes it does change.
Okay, so I'm going to actually leave that alone. But what I can do is I can show a picture I got yesterday from somebody, and I'll flip it over here, Stone. I can just log in on this one.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that too.
But I did get some pictures out of Ubley yesterday, so Scott's telling us that he doesn't need any more rain, and based on the pictures that I got from somebody else in Ubley yesterday, I can certainly believe that. So let's switch over here, and I'll show that on our desktop computer, just to give you a sense of what these storms might be able to put down. And so this is an example in Ubley yesterday. If it wants to load on me. Let's see if we can just refresh here. Maybe if I want to open it in a new, what in the world? So clearly it's not allowing us to do so. But long story short, there was some flooding in Ubley yesterday. So I can believe what Scott's telling me. So I guess that's not going to work out for us. Facebook never cooperates when we need it to.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Facebook it always wants to fight.
Okay. Well, we'll log out of that for now. Let me see. If you can do me a favor, Stone, can you look at the consumer's outage map while this is having a tough time loading over here, and see how power outages are progressing. Jill, Reese is a little bit more up in the air. You're under the severe thunderstorm watch, so I think you'll likely need to pay attention here. Looks like they just expanded a warning into Shiawassee County. So Stone does have the Consumers Energy outage map. Not much of it is technically in our viewing area, but there are a few popping up towards Gratiot and also Isabella County. And zoom in if you could, Stone, on some of those near, well, can we zoom in on this the way we're looking at it? Yeah, we can. Gratiot County on 127. So is that Isabella right there?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
So let's go south a little bit. And some of those power outages, I want to say they're right by that wind velocity.
Yeah.
That was pretty strong. So that's around that Ithaca area.
Yep.
So I wonder, it does seem like the velocity's coming down. Not a ton, but it's not quite as widespread, but we've still got 60 to 70 mile per hour winds off the deck there. There's a 70 right there. I'm wondering if some of that is coming down to the surface, or maybe 60 to 65.
I was just saying, most of the warnings have been up to 60, so I would imagine it's like 55 to 65. It's quite possibly reaching the ground with this.
Yeah. Not as many in Isabella, where it does seem like the wind is a little weaker. If you look towards the Detroit radar, it's not picking up quite as much wind speed. But that's definitely noteworthy. So there we go. Man, that must be producing, based on that map, that's got to be producing a good amount of wind. Those aren't small power outages.
No, that's a pretty big area.
Okay, so just to reset here, let me see if I can get our warnings, the auto warnings up, so it can give us some time frames here. The new warning for Shiawassee County, that goes until 9:15. That is a severe thunderstorm warning for, I believe, probably 60 mile per hour winds and
Yes.
pea-sized hail. So this one is primarily for wind gusts. I think the one positive for those who are on the stream wondering about any sort of tornado threat, they have not issued any tornado possible tags for these severe thunderstorm warnings yet, so that's a good sign. Yesterday they weren't shy about it with a area of rotation that happened just before our 10 o'clock newscast in Sanilac County. So I think we're doing okay avoiding that for now, but clearly we're still seeing strong enough winds to cause some power outages. Not the night you want to lose power either.
No.
Lows are probably going to be well into the 60s, maybe even 70s. I'm not convinced some of us won't drop out of the 70s.
I would say with this rain really holding together better, I think 70s would be hard for some areas. Maybe down south if you got warm enough through the afternoon where it just holds on. But I think 60s is definitely going to be more widespread.
Yeah. Let's see. Bring it on. Love a good storm. Just no more tornadoes. Very high winds in Mount Pleasant. So Betty's giving some reports from Mount Pleasant. Let's pull up that Mount Pleasant cam. There we go. All right. That is definitely, we'll pull that up full screen. So visibility very low. That's looking west. I just flipped that camera around. So we are looking west from the top of Moore Hall, and Broomfield Road is off to the left there, and Mission Street is to the back of the camera. Took me a second. I had to go back to college there to remember which roads. I almost got Broomfield and Mission. I lived on Broomfield. But there's the whole scope for anybody who's just popping in. We know a lot of you are going to be coming and going. Somebody just asked about Tuscola County. You are under the watch. Stone and I are both still intrigued as to how well this is going to hold together the further east it goes. It's done a pretty good job of that so far.
And it still looks relatively healthy as it's moving through. So I think the thing is I expected it to break apart a little bit, and it really hasn't.
Now, the one thing I will say on that is that we have seen a weakening trend from where it was in Wisconsin.
Yes.
And so we did talk about that on the 6 o'clock news, is that relatively speaking, it is weakening, but it was still so strong on the other side of Lake Michigan that it's taking a little bit longer to come down. And so the wind signature, we'll see if those hold together like they did in Gratiot County, where we've gotten some of those power outages.
I had to also think, too, our environment wasn't like our environment wasn't healthy either.
Yeah.
You know, we had good Cape values throughout the day. The biggest weakness was our shear, but when this thing's moving through, it's just going to keep going.
Yeah, so we've got a pretty healthy night here. How about Frankenmuth? Frankenmuth, you're still, I would say, within the next hour, as these storms are just on the west side of Saginaw County. Let's see. Thunder now in Mount Pleasant from Jana. She's the same one who said the winds are picking up. Bay City, you've got a storm in the vicinity already. Not, well, let's see if that, the problem is we've got a couple warnings. So Bay County's not included.
No.
So this part of Saginaw County is probably not what prompted the severe warning. It is probably this section right here. And call me crazy.
I was going to say, let me pull it up real quick.
Because I feel like that cell was in Saginaw County before.
It was.
Okay, so that part of the storm going into Bay County is probably not severe. It doesn't look quite as put together as some of the others.
I think for that, the big thing is going to be heavy rainfall.
Heavy rain
I said,
and
that
lightning.
was what I drove into through when I was on the way back to the station.
Yeah.
Very reduced visibilities. If you're going to be hitting the roads with that cell just south of Bay City through Munger, just be careful with that because it is raining very hard.
I mean, just look at this Mount Pleasant camera.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a perfect illustration there. So you've got the actual spotter report from Stone about that storm coming through. I can't tell if it's the severe thunderstorm watch underneath it. There's not a purple outline on Saginaw, is there?
I thought the same thing, but the warning, at least on this first document I'm looking at from the National Weather Service, doesn't have that indicator. So I don't know if that's just...
Yeah, I think we're okay. I think it's just the fact that we've got the severe thunderstorm warning. No, we do.
We do.
It is a considerable. So the wind potential, and you know what? That goes along with that Gratiot County storm, is they are allowing for the wind gusts
Actually,
up to
that
70
just
miles per
updated,
hour.
so that's why I'm not seeing it. Yeah, 70 miles per hour, penny-sized tail.
Okay, so they are picking up what we've been talking about for the last probably 20 minutes now, even last half hour, is let's pause this for the Detroit radar. For whatever reason, our little tool that does the sampling wasn't, okay, so it's picking up about 40, 45. It's probably sampling it at a different level. But if we go back over here, this is probably what they're talking about. It's this, wrong tool. It's this area right here. 70 miles per hour, 74. So what they're probably banking on, I'm not sure why it's not picking up in that part. It just might be a pixel issue. But they're banking on, I would imagine, some of that potentially coming down to the surface. So that lines up with what we were thinking in Gratiot County. And I'm wondering if they've been watching that power outage map.
And they just now extended that severe thunderstorm warning into Bay County. That is for still 60-mile-per-hour winds.
So the one for Bay County is for 60 miles per hour. Okay. So let's, we'll zoom out here. And usually that shows up a little bit better. It looks like Midland. Is that considerable as well?
Yeah. Let me go back and look. I'm pretty sure Midland and Saginaw, they are both in the same sort of
it appears
group.
to be.
So,
okay, so let's take a look and see if we can get some wind velocity. Okay, so that's why.
Yes.
It is that southwestern corner of Midland County. So it keeps wanting to pick up on the warning. But it's that southwestern section right about there, 68 miles per hour. Just south of there, 68 miles per hour. So yeah, that's what we're looking at there. Stone, if you want to take over, I'll check, just since you came in, I'll let you have the wheel for a moment. And I'm going to see if I can find any reports coming in. I'll be back. Check out chat too.
I guess I could have done that. We apologize for that dead air there. We're doing a mic switch. I know this mic's a little bit better than that other mic that I originally had on. Picks up everyone a little bit better, so I won't have to sit here and fight it just a little bit. But again, if you're just joining us, severe thunderstorm warnings have now been issued throughout Saginaw, Midland, Bay, Gratiot, Isabella counties for this line that is moving through right now. Let me just quickly get this just situated. So here's your pinpoint Doppler, again, just showing that. And I did see your Facebook comment saying if you're in Munger, you are seeing heavy rainfall. That cell is producing very heavy rain at this point. It isn't warned. I think that severe thunderstorm warning is mostly for this line that's moving through, but you are still going to be dealing with some very heavy rainfall just south of Bay City, eventually heading into northwest Tuscola County. So just be prepared for that. If you're traveling along M15, M25, you may come across very reduced visibilities and tough travel, some flooding possibility there. So Chris was just mentioning, if you could hear him, there is, again, not seeing any reports of damage in the area from this. Now, I think it will take a little bit of time, especially through Isabella and Gratiot counties if you're in that area. Make sure this storm's passed before you go outside and inspect any of the damage that you may have before letting us know, just because we want you to stay safe. There's still quite a bit of lightning with this as well as it develops. And just real quickly, trying to load up Facebook chat while we're doing this, or while I'm just getting situated. But again, this line continues to move through. We continue to watch for those warnings. And again, severe thunderstorm warnings are issued for Shiawassee, Saginaw, Bay, Midland, Isabella and Gratiot County. That's going to be for wind up to 60 to 70 miles per hour. Now, just trying to find something real quickly. Okay. So I don't think you guys can hear Chris, but he's just reporting some heavy winds in the northwest side of the lower peninsula, even though we're not seeing any kind of warnings there. There was a special weather statement for Gladwin, Roscommon, and Ogama County. I think that's mainly because of wind up to 45 to 50 miles per hour. We'll see how that evolves here as we get this line continuing.
Yeah, it looks like northwest, and this is far removed from our area. But it sounds like areas near Traverse City, they're getting some good gusts. That northwestern section did get a report. It sounds like in that area is of some trees down. So even though those are not warned at this time, they may still be pretty gusty as they come through. So again, I think wind is going to be probably our biggest issue here, and those power outages. So let me see, I'll pull them up over here too. And we don't even have to show that outage map, but just so we have kind of a reference point maybe.
Yep.
As soon as those go by, I'm not sure if I always exit out of the outage map once I'm done using it, so I'm not sure if it'll pop up live if we don't
refresh
it, but we'll see. We've got one outage on the one outage in Thomas Township. So that's where one of those first storms came through.
Yeah, that first one that came through sort of the northern side of Saginaw into Kochville and obviously in that area. I did want to mention as well, I see a few questions in chat about Midland. You still have about 5 minutes before the main portion of this line moves through. So just because it's calm right now doesn't mean it's going to be in about 10 minutes. This line is approaching you. I've seen a few people reporting that it's calm in Midland. We are looking at straight line storms for Bay City. Definitely that's the concern, is going to be straight line wind for this line as it moves from the east to the west here in the 8 o'clock hour.
Yeah, so that power outage for Thomas Township is along Miller Road, north of Geddes, extending right along the Tittabawassee River. Goes up to about Dice Road. So anyone who's watching from the Shields area, there was a power outage with the first storm that came through, and you've got what appears to be this last line coming through.
Yeah, so if you live in Gratiot County, I think you're probably going to be in good shape in the next 5 minutes as that line moves through. You'll still have some rain, as you can see. There is still probably about another 25 to 30 minutes of rain. Just going through Facebook chat again, tornado chances, very small. We haven't really had much even chance with this line. Now, we'll still watch it. It's still a possibility we could, see some rotation, just like yesterday where it was sort of out of the blue. But so far, I think we're in good shape. That tornado chance is very small. Somebody asked, what is the pink highlight? That is a severe thunderstorm watch. So that was extended into the western half, or the eastern half of the state, I should say. So the Thumb and north of the Bay, you were actually added on to that severe thunderstorm watch about probably an hour ago, just because they see this line's continuing to hold relatively good strength as it moves from west to east. Now, again, I want to highlight, if you live in Midland, you live in Saginaw, be prepared. This was a chance that this line could produce 70-mile-per-hour wind. So if you're in Midland, you're in Saginaw, I think even in Bay City at this point, you may want to just get indoors, get away from windows, just play it safe, because this is possibly producing those strong winds.
If anybody is watching from the Wheeler area or Merrill, or even into Hemlock, looking at the Grand Rapids velocity, I'd love to hear what type of wind. And so, Stone, if you just click velocity, we have different workspaces. So I promise I'm not talking down to Stone, but it's set towards the nearest radar. So just go, yep. So a little bit to the west towards Merrill. Yeah, it's going to be right on that border. It's in the handoff zone between Grand Rapids and Detroit. So if you're in the Merrill area, west side of Hemlock, Lakefield, Wheeler, or even south side of Midland County, I'd be very interested to hear what you have to say as far as the winds that might be coming through there right now. So if you have a report on that, please let me know.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull out some of these wind speeds. I don't know why. I think it might be because I'm on the Detroit side there. It's only pulling on the Grand Rapids side, so that probably explains it a little bit. If I do this, I wonder if it will help us out a little bit. Let's just clear it. So even though the Detroit radar isn't picking up as well, it's pretty far up there with this, so that's just something that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, looking to see what we've got.
Real quick, looking over at our Facebook chat.
Did get some ominous clouds.
Okay. I would say there were a few gust tornadoes being reported on the western half of the state. That's obviously an interesting develop. Again, you could have just enough wind off a straight line to help pick up some of that. Wind is very bad in Lee Township. That, again, is an area where you're seeing that. It's either nothing or a downpour quickly. That's really what on my drive here with this cell that is north of, or I should say northeast of Saginaw heading into Tuscola County, this actually isn't warned, but it is producing very heavy rainfall. Going through Munger, going towards Akron. Carol, you should be just north, far enough south of this, but that is producing very heavy rainfall. So just be prepared for that. I've mentioned it a few times. If you're traveling or have travel plans along M25 or M138, I would maybe try to just maybe delay that travel plan until this line moves through. Because even the back line, we pulled up our Mount Pleasant camera just a couple seconds ago, was showing that very heavy rainfall.
So I did get something from Hemlock. Looks like a pretty ominous shelf cloud.
Yeah.
That Lee Township area, what did you say that report was?
Just very strong wind.
Okay, so that would be the area between Mount Pleasant and Midland. So getting some good winds. Definitely picking up in Hemlock too.
Yeah.
So thanks for that report out of Hemlock. The video I'm seeing doesn't look like it's the, up to 70 miles per hour or anything just based on first glance, but still pretty gusty there.
Super strong wind just popped up in Midland, and it got very dark from Julia, thank you. I hope we get something in Linwood. How is Midland? You're going to be seeing wind in the next 5 minutes. If you're not already seeing wind, again, chat's a little bit behind just because we're just scrolling through, and we're getting a lot of chats, so thank you for that.
Okay, so just got a video from Shane Garrison. Wind really picking up between Hemlock and Midland.
So right in that area where we've been anticipating that you should see your wind actually popping up, and actually just had a larger area of power outages pop up.
And is that in that area?
That's right in that area where we're seeing that possibility of up to 70 mile per hour wind. So obviously not in an area that we want to see, being that Freeland obviously yesterday with that tornado. This is a 70 mile per hour wind possible now in that same area. So like we said, if you're in Saginaw, you're in Freeland, you're in Midland, you're out to Bay City, you just maybe want to get indoors at this point, get away from window. We're seeing more and more.
There's plenty within that Breckenridge, Merrill.
Yeah, here it should refreshed if you want to go over here, Chris.
Okay.
Just zoom out because it is.
Oh, okay.
I zoomed it in really far.
Okay, so yeah, this is. So we've got Saginaw right here. A lot of these outages popping up in that area where some of that healthy line came through. So if you take Saginaw over to 46, so that's Alma right there, or in that area. And so yeah, if you go directly northeast, yes, we're seeing power outages associated with that line.
And I'm getting a lot of reports, lights flickering Bay City, lights flickering in Hampton Township, lights flickering in Chesaning, lost power in Porter Township. So we're seeing more and more, and power just flickered in City, Saginaw, West Side. So more and more of these power outages, I think, are going to start to show up, especially as this wind approaches Saginaw, goes through Freeland, goes through Midland. Another question was about Mount Pleasant. I think you most likely are in the clear at this point. You do have that line still moving through eastern Isabella County, but most of that severe chance is now into Midland County. And I will say they have now what's the word I'm looking for? Canceled the warnings in Isabella and Gratiot County. So I think you're in the clear.
All right.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
All right, so Stone, I am going to, you keep streaming.
Yep,
I
I'll
will
keep
get our
streaming.
directors.
Yes. So if you're just tuning in, that is a tornado warning has now been issued for northwestern Tuscola County, right in that area near Akron. So just be careful of that. Let's look at the rotation for this. So if you live in Munger, you want to get in your shelter. Guilford, Akron, Unionville, Caro, you're also included in this tornado warning. I'll get some of the details on it here in just a second. But if you live in this area of northwest Tuscola County, you're going to want to get into your shelter. This is, again, a radar indicated tornado warning, so nothing confirmed. But there is a possibility this could, and actually, yeah, that is for Bay County into Tuscola County. Let's see if I can get some more details on this. So, again, radar indicated, $half sized hail as well. So, again, Munger, Guilford, Akron, Caro, I think Unionville, you want to be in your shelter with this tornado warning. Again, Chief Meteorologist Chris Easlick, he's going to get around so we can get on air and get covering this tornado warning. But that is the big update. This was something we had to watch out for. It was a small chance, but it was there that we could see some rotation. Just saw that tornado warning for Munger. So you want to, again, be prepared to get into your shelter. We're going to be running around here for a little bit, so just be prepared for that. Let me look at our rotation just real quickly here. Okay, sounds good. Okay, sounds good. So let me just pull up just real quickly what we're looking at for our rotation. So, not the greatest looking amount of rotation, but there definitely is some there. Now, I may lose control here. Chris is going to take over for a second, so I'm just going to try to talk about what we're seeing so Chris can get ready for that tornado warning. Again, if you live in northwestern Tuscola County, even Munger, I think Munger, you need to be in your basement or in your safe space. That needs to be away from windows, underground if you can. Guilford, Akron, Caro, I think Unionville, even though you're not in this warning, I would get into your shelter just in case this does start to move north or move a little bit in your direction. Again, if you're traveling along M138, you also want to try to find shelter right now. This tornado warning does go until 9:15 p.m. So you got about, let's say 30 minutes, we'll say, as long as they don't extend this for this tornado warning. And again, that is in northwestern Tuscola County. Again, I can't touch this keyboard now. So you are going to lose a little bit as Chris tries to take over for our TV coverage because we do have to go on air for this tornado warning. But again, Northwest County. Let me try to find our studio. Is it there? Is it ready for me to take? Okay, so we will be switching over to our coverage on TV5. Again, we'll keep the stream up as long as this tornado warning is going and as long as we're getting severe thunderstorm warning. So we'll be right there with this coverage.
With a quick update for you, we do have a new tornado warning that has been issued for parts of Bay and also Tuscola County. This warning being issued within the last couple of minutes. We are on our streaming platforms and we are now transitioning over to our on-air platform just because of this warning. This is a tornado warning that is in effect until 9:15 on Wednesday. This is in addition to several severe thunderstorm warnings that we have had within the last several minutes and the last hour or so. Some of these severe thunderstorm warnings have had what have been called considerable tags with a healthy amount of wind, some of them producing winds of around 60 to 70 miles per hour. And we've also had several rounds of power outages that have come along with it. So this storm, as it's currently located, is on the eastern side of Bay County, right around the Munger area. area and also just to the west of Guilford. Akron, you are not under this storm for now, but you are in that polygon. And let's see if we can get an area of rotation. We are seeing what appears to be a very decently defined hook area of the storm, or at least a hook that is starting to form. So we'll get our radar velocity up here, and it looks like that circulation is just to the south of Munger with the best picture that we can see right now. Looks like it's just to the east, I would say, of M15 right there, and just to the southwest of Quanticosi. I will say, based on first glance, this does not seem like a very intense area of rotation, but it's still an area of rotation nonetheless. And now we are getting the latest scan that doesn't look quite as organized as that, but this is still a tornado warning that was just issued here within the last couple of minutes, and we will track this for you as it moves off to the north and east. So if you are in places like Akron, if you are in Guilford, if you are in Cairo, even though this seems like it may not be right in the line of Cairo, I would get to your safe spot as soon as you can. I would say if you're in Unionville, on the south side of Unionville, I would plan on being in your safe area just to be on the safe side too, even though what appears to be the hook area of the storm is just to the south of there. Now, as far as everything else, we do have several severe thunderstorm warnings that are in place, and I don't often like to take the attention off of the tornado warning itself. But the reason I'm telling you this tonight is we do have a couple of these warning boxes that are showing with labels that have a purple outline to them. And what that means is we've had some incredibly strong wind gusts. And if you're just joining our live coverage here on the air, we have also had several power outages that have come along with it. We've almost been able to follow the power outages as they have been happening on the Consumers Energy outage map. So we'll zoom back in to the tornado warning because that is right now the most pressing issue, but we'll do our best to keep circling back to other areas as well. And we're getting lots of reports into the newsroom at this time of various power outages. If you feel like you can share something with us, if there are any visuals in this area, we would love to have them just so we could tell that story a little bit better. Right now, this is a radar indicated tornado warning. I have not myself seen a report that there is any tornado on the ground at this time, but we will keep inspecting this as it moves off to the east. So this is moving. It's near Reese and Fairgrove and Quanticosi around 8:40. So that is when the warning was first issued. It's around Akron here within the next, I would say, probably 5 to 10 minutes. We're also looking at Cairo and Unionville as we get closer to the next 10 to 15 minutes as well. Our directors have pulled up for us the Consumers Energy outage map, so you can see that, which again basically have been following those areas of thunderstorms that have been pretty heavy at times. So let's get the motion on this. The hazard is a tornado and $50 sized hail. So in addition to that, we are expecting the possibility of a tornado plus that hail threat. So let's see here. We got our track. This is moving off to the east at about 35 miles per hour. So let me change this because we've been tracking storms at about 50 miles per hour. So this is moving a little bit slower. So we're going to take this area where it seems like it's hooking the most, and we'll just draw all the way to the end of that polygon, and we'll do multiple tracks here just as the path, starts to change and as it starts to adjust with any adjustments here as the warning updates. But this is likely moving towards areas like Fairgrove Church, closer to about 906. This is headed towards the Almer area, closer towards 913. This says Akron closer to about 904 based on its current speed. So some of that text in the warning seems like it's been updated by now. And we can take a look at the latest velocity scan here. Meteorologist Stone Schaefer is in the building as well. Meteorologist Diane Phillips will be in to help us out as well. I'm not seeing what appears to be a well-defined circulation. There's areas of green and red together indicating that there is at least some sort of circulation, but I wouldn't say there's anything that's appearing to be terribly organized after it keeps scanning. But we do have that pronounced hook area, so there's definitely enough of a concern here. I would say if you're in the Guilford area, that is the area that is most concerning. Let me get my pointer tool here. This area right here, right where we've got what appears to be that hook echo forming. Would imagine the $half sized hail is likely more towards the front of the storm in this area here. If you have images of that, we would certainly like to confirm that as well. This tornado warning that is in place for Tuscola County. Looks like the eastern edge of Bay County, but starting to move out, is in effect for another 28 minutes. So roughly about the next half hour here. Stone, are you getting mic'd up right now? It looks like you are. Okay. Let's see if we've got any. Stone's been helping us get our stream transitioned over. Not seeing anything as far as the debris signature at this time. But this morning was issued pretty quickly.
Yeah, it definitely looks pretty decent with that hook. Again, I wasn't seeing any rotation when we're doing our transition, at least not prevalent, is that the word I'm looking for, a rotation there with that, but obviously they are seeing it, so that's why they had that warning as we just get transitioned.
Yeah, just based on the appearance alone. We've clearly got some inflow here. We've clearly got air that's moving into that storm and causing that hook. So it's this area right here. It may not be showing up well on velocity right now, or as well as it could be, but it's this area here. Let's zoom in just a little bit more towards northwest of Guilford. So right along pretty much 138, M138 is where that zone is, where I think everybody needs to be in their shelter at this time, just to the west of Fairgrove. So if you're in Fairgrove, areas that are west of Fairgrove around 138, that is the area that I want you to be in your shelter right now. Areas that are also just north of 138, that would be the area that I want you to be also in your shelter at this time. Okay, there is no tornado sirens going off in Bay City. Now, our producer is talking about, are they saying no tornado sirens are going off, or there's no tornado sirens in their area at all? Okay, so again, thunderstorm and tornado sirens may not be going off in all communities. Those are also, as we mentioned a couple of times on Tuesday, they are not always the best way of doing things, especially as you start to get out into the thumb. The sirens do not cover the entire area. There are also sirens that may only be operated by volunteers who may not be in that area. Doing some live cam tours here around Saginaw. Just had our US 10 camera up. And so definitely some dark skies, definitely some strong winds.
And I'll also add too, just real quick, is this is sitting in that area that we start to get a little bit high in the atmosphere with the radar. So we're probably not getting the best look at this rotation if it is lower in the atmosphere, similar to what we had well yesterday, where we're just, the rotation's very low. You just don't catch it as much. Now, a good signal was we had some hail. That's always a good sign you have rotation there. So again, just putting it all together, there's a good sign.
There's still enough of a signature here where you can tell this lines up with that hook, which is again right along that M138 area going from Fairgrove towards Munger. It is to the east of Munger, but it would be right in this area here. And so we have not gotten any confirmation of that. Stone, I'm going to take a look at my Facebook messages. I think I just got somebody who sent me something about that. Here's just a quick, wider view. We want to make sure we're paying attention to as many people as possible tonight, just because of the magnitude of that wind that we have been streaming on our website here for the last, I would say, probably just over an hour. We've had a lot of power outages. Did get a picture here from Kyle. This is the tornado warning near Munger. Seeing a heavy rain curtain, but I'm not seeing anything that stands out as far as a tornado. I'm not even really seeing a wall cloud from this photo. That doesn't mean there's not one.
And I will say too, we were mentioning this in the stream, that this cell has been producing very heavy rainfall. So this could end up, if there is a tornado, quickly become rain wrap. So if you're going to be outdoors and you're thinking, oh, maybe I can get a view of it, don't do that. Get into your shelter, because this is producing very heavy rainfall. Again, when it was moving through Saginaw, moving through Munger was another report there. So you may not see that tornado if it is on the ground.
Okay, so I did get a picture from meteorologist Matthew Mondro as well. He's looking at that storm from where he is. He looks like he's just north of Vassar.
And that might be a good view. Again, rain wrap would be the biggest thing. Rainfall might be hiding anything with this rotation at this point.
Yeah, are we on our, we are still streaming on Facebook?
Yes, yes, we are on Facebook.
Okay, so I'm going to take a look at our comments there as well to see if we're getting any reports there. I would say the one thing I'm noticing here as this moves off to the east, the hook is kind of going away. It's not as well defined. It looks like it's just kind of joining all together here into more of this big cellular structure. The area that was hooking is no longer as obvious.
Can we maybe pull up rotation just real quickly just to see?
I'm getting a ton of notifications, so trying to keep up with
anything.
those. I mean, it's still there.
It's still there. It's definitely just a bit muddy. Not the most clean rotation that we would ever, see when it comes to a tornado. But I think if you live in Akron, you live in Guilford, just stay in your shelter. If you know anyone that's been traveling on M138, make sure they're just being safe, maybe just being inside a little bit longer. If you're in Cairo, I think it's south or north of you, but I would still be ready to get into your shelter if you're not already there. I'd stay there. Unionville as well. I think you're north of it, but still stay in your shelter. These things can shift very quickly and, catch people off guard with those shifts. We saw this yesterday in Freeland where that jumped a little bit farther north almost. So again, if you live in Akron, you live in Unionville, Cairo, even Guilford, even though it's mostly past you, stay in your safe place, whether that's a basement, your bathroom, an inner, sort of the most inner room in your house. You want to get away from windows. You want to get away from those exterior walls because, again, this is not going to be a tornado, I don't think, if there is one, that you're going to be able to just see. It's not going to be what we call photogenic. It's going to be most likely a rain wrap with how heavy of rainfall was being reported out of this cell.
Okay, so I'm getting some pictures from Reese. Photos of the storm 1.5 miles north of Reese. So definitely looks like we've got just some incredibly heavy rainfall. And I'll see if I can get that uploaded. Very, very solid rain core.
Yes.
On that. Not seeing anything visible as far as a funnel goes. Definitely supercellular in structure. It's definitely a stronger storm here.
And I don't want to forget about either real quickly as we're just continuing our coverage. If you live in Bay City, you live in Saginaw County, and even Munger now, you're going to see some very heavy wind. This line that's right behind this cell has been having reports maybe closer to 70 miles per hour. That is our Birch Run camera. What a view there with that line moving through. Luckily, no rain, but again, just be prepared for that sort of 70 mile per hour wind. And even Birch Run, you probably have about 5 minutes, and it's going to get pretty windy, if even shorter than that for this line. But again, our main concern right now continues to be in northwestern Tuscola County, where we continue to see a tornado warning that, again, it goes till 9:15 p.m. That is moving through sort of right along M138 and towards M24 towards Fairgrove and Akron. So if you're in Fairgrove, you're in Akron, I would just be in your shelter and stay there, because again, this isn't going to be the best viewing chance, and you want to stay safe. It's going to be very rain wrapped if anything is on the ground.
Yeah, I would say still along, if there's going to be anything, it doesn't look quite as strong. Just from a radar perspective with the reflectivity, it's not as obvious as it was earlier, but I still think it's that area that's right along 138 or within the vicinity of 138. I would say it's in that area that's just to the west of Fairgrove and going west along 138, but it's starting to move towards Fairgrove. So if you are in Fairgrove and you're not in your safe spot just yet, I would get there very quickly just in case.
Yeah, so around Kirk Road, Vassar Road would be right where we're seeing some of that rotation. So if you live along there, obviously you need to be in your shelter. And then obviously heading into Fairgrove, that is really right in the line of where we're seeing this rotation right now with this tornado warning.
Okay, and I'm still not seeing Stone as I'm kind of looking at reports and other radar. I'm not seeing a obvious debris signature
Let me
with
pull
this.
up. I'll pull up CC, but yeah, I'm not seeing anything really popping out either with it. something we'll just have to watch out for, because yesterday, if we were getting any debris ball, it was very quickly, one frame and it was gone. So just something to watch out for. Luckily, these storms are a little more put together than yesterday, so I think you'd be a better chance of seeing it.
If you want to pause that, and if our directors can to take the wall here, if possible, are we good to go? Okay, thank you, Adam. This area right here, anywhere that you're seeing these colors, so I want to tell you exactly what this means and what we're looking for. So anywhere you see this red shaded region or this burgundy color, what the radar is doing is it's looking into that storm and it's looking at objects that are similar shapes. So raindrops are going to have similar shapes. So anything that pops up in this reddish or purple maroon color are objects of the same shape. What we're looking for is usually typically areas that are a little bit closer to this blue shade right here, or at the very least a shade that is transitioning towards that blue. And so what we would be looking for is what we call sort of a CC drop, a correlation coefficient drop, which would be somewhere in this area where that hook echo would be. But I'm not seeing one. Now, that does not mean anything. Based on the photos we have seen, I have not seen any confirmation of a tornado there. We're not getting any sort of confirmation of a debris signature, but we just saw that the other day. Montrose got that tornado confirmed. That was the EF unknown, the EFU tornado, and that was only in a field, so there wasn't really much for it to actually pick up. So the debris signature isn't everything, but it's something that at least could provide a clue, and right now I'm not really seeing that. So meteorologist Diane Phillips, she's now in with us. Diane, is your microphone working? I believe so. Okay, we're getting in that direction. We'll let you just test that out. Feel free to tell us anything, just to do a mic check, informal here. Stone, I don't think this looks quite as good anymore, or as quite as organized as maybe those first couple of scans. So I think that's a good development there. But I did get a report on Facebook. Somebody said the wind is really starting to pick up in the Unionville area, and that would be more towards that forward flank downdraft side of that supercell on the very northern tip. And so I'm interested, if you're north of Akron, if we can flip over to the reflectivity. What I'm surprised is, Stone, is if this hazard was for $half sized hail, I'm actually kind of surprised we're not seeing any purple pop up, especially in these areas. There's not, I would say, and it doesn't always have to be the case, but there's not as obvious of a hail signal, and considering the hail size that was marked as the hazard.
And I'll just add, they did just issue a severe thunderstorm warning on top of this tornado warning for Tuscola County.
Yep, so there's probably where it's at.
Yeah, that is for 60-mile-per-hour wind. Doesn't even actually have a hail up to about 3/4 of an inch.
Okay. So if anyone, just before Diane gets going, because I know, Diane, you just pulled up the water content, which is what we typically use to find hail. If anybody can confirm any $half sized hail or anything like that, please let us know. We'll take hail pictures as well.
Yeah, so First Alert Meteorologist Diane Phillips here. Just kind of watching this cell as it was coming through, looking good. It has started to kind of fall apart a little bit. We're also seeing that, though, on the hail tracker. We just kind of had that pink core that came up even just as this storm was kind of coming into Tuscola County. And you see kind of those bright red and pink colors there, but then it starts to kind of stretch out ahead. And we were seeing this earlier with these storms, is that they were kind of pushing east and almost getting a little bit out ahead of themselves. And then they really kind of struggle to survive when they do that. So this is kind of what we're even seeing with the hail, is this is going to try to push in closer towards Unionville. So this has kind of just been riding there along M25, even coming around the water. And and they just updated the tornado warning. So we do have a couple of locations that are no longer in the warning.
Okay, so the interesting thing is they've obviously kept it going, despite maybe the circulation not looking quite as defined. So I think that's an interesting development there.
And just real quickly, I want to add, because I'm seeing a lot of people over on our Facebook stream mentioning what about the rest of the system. Just be prepared. It is moving right towards Bay City at this point. You're going to see up to 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. I think Frankenmuth, if not already moved through Bay City, Frankenmuth, you're going to be seeing this right now. Munger, you're probably about a minute to 2 away, seeing some very strong wind. Vassar, you probably have about 5 to 10 minutes. Millington as well. It is just crossing that 75 corridor here. So that line, while there isn't any tornadoes, has been producing wind up to 60 to 70 miles per hour. So that's straight line wind, just as strong as a tornado at times. So you still have to be careful. I think if you live in front of that, especially through Tuscola County, Genesee County, even though you don't have a warning, could still get windy. Just stay indoors, stay in your shelter. There's another tornado warning to the north.
That one's just north of our area. So
So this is coming into Alcona County.
Okay. So
I know we have a couple of folks who will join us there. So just wanted to let them know that that warning did just get issued until oh, there it goes. So that is just going to be active for about until 9:30 for folks there into Alcona County.
Okay, so the one thing that I am noticing, Diane, it should be on the top right of my palette where it says severe warnings. Just if we could zoom out and do one big summary here. It does appear that the only, I would say, considerable warning left is the Midland and Saginaw.
Yes.
It looks like that has the purple outline, but it doesn't appear that they extended that into Tuscola County. I believe that one's for 60 miles per hour.
Yes.
Okay, so it's this warning right here, that Saginaw and Midland County warning. Did they carry that stone into Bay County? I know we had the tornado warning first.
No, that was for 60 miles per hour in Bay County.
So it was this area right here, Saginaw County and also into Midland County. We had the severe thunderstorm warnings with the considerable tag. And that was also when Stone and I were on the stream. When we first started our stream, we were noticing a pretty big pocket of wind that was just southwest of Gratiot County, and that was moving northwest. And we talked about how that Gratiot County warning was not labeled considerable or destructive. Destructive would be when your EAS system goes off. We're talking about winds that are approaching 80 miles per hour or more, but that did carry into Midland and Saginaw County, and we have had a ton of power outages reported in that area too. So again, we are watching this tornado warning, but I don't want anybody in these counties to feel left out either, because we've had some really strong winds. And is that warning for Genesee County new?
Yes, so they just issued another severe thunderstorm warning for Genesee County. That goes until 10 p.m. It's for wind up to 60 miles per hour.
Okay, so that is up to 60 miles per hour. So that is also not continuing those 70 mile per hour winds. So it's still not great. We're still seeing enough to get warnings here, but at least maybe some of that maximum potential is starting to come down a little bit. I would hope so, considering the way the power outages have performed up to this point. We certainly don't want to see that continue into the thumb. We're going to have to switch over probably to DTE's map here very soon.
This is also just a look at some of the times that we have going forward on this line. So, of course, we did just have the severe thunderstorm warning issued for all of Genesee County. So as far as the storm coming into the city of Flint, that's only going to be in just a few minutes. We'll be seeing this into Grand Blanc around 9:11, and then 9:18 in Cairo, 9:25 for Lapeer. Cass City at 9:30, Imlay City at 9:38, Elmont, so coming through Lapeer County, still at 9:42, and then Sandusky and Sanilac County around 9:46, and then even towards Croswell, getting close towards the lakeshore, 10 o'clock. So these storms are moving at about 60 miles per hour, and they are going to get mainly through the rest of our mid-Michigan communities in about an hour or so time. This is also kind of a live look on some of our cameras where we're picking up heavy rainfall. I know as I was coming back into the station, the winds were kind of picking up on that line. There wasn't as much rain as what I thought there would be.
Stone had, he said, very poor visibility when he came back, and we have definitely seen poor visibility. So,
and again, that was from that cell that is producing this tornado warning. So that is why, you know, if there is a tornado, the concern would be it is rain wrapped, and we're getting dark, so you're not maybe able to see anything if you do have a tornado on the ground. But even now, looking at that rotation isn't, I mean, maybe a little bit there, but not as impressive as maybe it was towards the western side of Tuscola County.
And so we've only got about 10 minutes left of this warning, so I'm interested to see what they do with that. That area along M81, just treat it a little bit more cautiously, just to be on the safe side. It looks very broad as it moves there.
Another thing to consider is this warning came through right as the cell was coming down around the bay, and we all know that the lake loves to play with storms, and I anticipate that's really kind of what got that rotation and that spin going. Now that we're just kind of getting around the bay and we may not have as much of an influence coming off the water. I know we're not very far here when we're looking at this cell, but really kind of getting away from the water again can kind of take that boundary that caused that spinning, and then we may see this kind of settle down, which is already what we're seeing, but also we're finding that here in our reflectivities. There's not that defined spot that we had when this warning was first sent.
Do you mind pulling up that hail parameter again, the water content? So yeah, I would really be interested to see the hail potential on that north side. So areas north and east of Akron as that forward flank downdraft moved through. Looks like a pretty classic supercell there.
Yeah.
When me and Stone first saw that warning pop up, it's just, there's not really a lot of structure to it left, at least on reflectivity. Still not seeing a defined debris signature with that. But I did hear from somebody in Unionville that they did have the winds pick up quite a bit.
And potentially you do see kind of that flare here, on just the second to last scan where it does pop up closer towards Unionville. So we may have, and not necessarily a tornado, but just simply you may have some debris as far as leaves, trees, because the debris tracker is going to pick up on leaves. So if you've had that push of air come through and you have a bunch of leaves or branches or something like that, we would be able to detect that there.
Okay, so I did just get another report in the Midland area. You guys are very correct about the winds hitting very quickly. Husband and I were on the deck and just all of a sudden 60 to 70 mile per hour winds in their estimation. So yeah. I would think, and we were watching that tornado warning in Tuscola County still in effect for about another 8 minutes. That was 9:15.
I don't think they
Okay.
updated it. Let me just quickly check
Okay.
to make sure, because sometimes it sneaks through. But
I'm guessing some of that wind that we saw on radar in sort of the upper levels of the storm, I'm guessing some of that came down to the surface, because the way those power outages added up and how quickly they did, we've had 60 mile per hour severe thunderstorm warnings so far this year, and we haven't been able to track power outages live like we did. And so I think we probably had some gusts that exceeded 60 miles per hour in some of the hardest hit areas.
I'm just zooming in here towards the southeast side of Unionville simply because we just have just that little cluster there of red, and we just also had the CC popping up. So I'm just anticipating potentially just either some debris there. The rotation isn't all that great.
What could be happening there is, we talked about it when we were streaming before this warning was issued, is there were some reports of possible land spouts on the west side of the state, and I'm wondering if perhaps maybe we're getting some of that out in some of those areas. I wouldn't say it's confirmed by any stretch, but I also wouldn't write it off.
Just after watching yesterday, and I'm glad that you did, yes, mention the land spouts, just simply kind of going and comparing kind of very similar spots from where we have that cluster on the south side of Unionville to then when you go and kind of align that, you kind of see a little pop.
It is worth noting, with about 5 minutes to go here, we have not seen an extension of that tornado warning.
yeah, and this does go till 9:15. So if you're in, again, Tuscola County, Akron, Unionville, Cairo, just, again, please stay into your safe spot, just because, again, there's not, even if you're north or south of this cell, we just want you to play it safe.
Yeah, so Gagetown, Cass City, D Ford, anyone pretty much along that M81 stretch getting set to go into Sanilac County. And I would say if you're on the southwestern side of Huron County as well, this area right here, I would say just to the southeast of Sebowing, I would say watch for hail in that part of Huron County. Bad Axe, we'll see what happens. They have not extended that warning into Huron County yet. I'm interested to see what happens with some of these cells that are working their way back into Bay County and also into Saginaw County, and what happens with those. So this looks like a pretty big supercell that is on the northern side of Tuscola County, but not as defined with that hook echo as it was a little bit earlier.
And real quickly, they did just cancel the Shiawassee severe thunderstorm warning. So if you're in Shiawassee County, you're in good shape. I think if you're in Saginaw, even now, it's hard to see here because it's on the left side of your screen, but I think you're in the clear of that main line that's been creating up to 70-mile-per-hour winds. But Vassar, you're on deck for this. Then areas throughout Tuscola County that have been dealing with this tornado warning, you're not done because you do have that line moving through.
Okay, and Diane, if you could, if we could go just back up quickly to that warning near Alcona County, because being in the summertime and getting into some of this hot weather, I know we're still expecting you know, a lot of people to not be out with weather like this, or at least at this time of night. But this is going towards the Au River area, which is a popular spot. So it's just to the west of Glenny. So the Weather Service in Gaylord is making sure they are telling people, do not wait to see this yourself. So if we do have anybody who is north of our area in Alcona County, we know there are a few of you who do watch us from there, and we also know that it's a very popular vacation spot, cabins and things like that. So just know that there is a tornado warning that is going into Alcona County as well. That one goes until what time? Do you remember? You were the one who found that pop up.
Let me pull it up here very quickly. I believe it goes for another 18 minutes, so
Okay.
until 9:30.
Okay, so again, I just wanted to touch base on that really quickly for those of you who can get our signal in Alcona County or who might have interests up there with any property or things like that, or know somebody who might, you know, let's just say there could be an Airbnb or something like that. You're near the Au River. It's in that area too.
Yeah, so if you're kind of looking at the map for folks who maybe potentially are on vacation, the rotation kind of right here in the center of the tornado warning polygon is kind of the best cell. There's still, though, some notches in between, but of course they have issued the warning for that notch there. So just kind of keep that in mind. Of course, if you are potentially camping, we do ask that you go to a sturdy structure if you are able to. If not, of course, make sure that you are getting as low to the ground as possible, covering your head. You mainly just want to avoid any flying debris. So of course, while camping, kind of a tricky spot and maybe situation to be in, but just kind of remember, seek that shelter indoors as you can. Avoid windows, doors if you're inside. If you are outside, of course, get as low to the ground as you can and cover your head. That's going to be kind of the best advice for folks who maybe be stuck outside right now.
And just real quickly, Huron County, you have now been issued a severe thunderstorm warning that is for wind up to 60 miles per hour. Bay County, it says you've expired that severe thunderstorm warning, but maybe it's just lingering a little bit in our system, or maybe it's just another portion of that's been expired. But again, continuing to watch this tornado warning in northern Tuscola County. That goes until 9:15. Luckily, they haven't extended it at any point yet. And I think another good sign is Huron County, you don't have a tornado possible tag with that severe thunderstorm warning. That cell eventually, I think, is going to get caught up to. If I pull up radar, we'll see how it reacts. But that main line is sort of catching up to that cell that was producing that tornado warning.
If we have a chance, if we could either look at the DTE outage map or the consumers map and check out the Reese area, getting a lot of reports. I believe that's DTE. Yep, it seems to be getting a lot of power outage reports, tree damage reports. So I'm wondering if we've got some power outage reports in the Reese area. Maybe it'll pop up here soon. I'm just now getting them.
A quick update for folks who are in Alcona County and are potentially streaming us. So far, there are some spotters in that area, and they have mentioned that they haven't seen anything notable.
Okay.
So that is a sign of relief for potentially folks who are camping.
I've gotten some really photogenic pictures from that area. This is a storm that has really good structure. But as far as, I haven't even seen a wall cloud. I don't know if you guys have. It seems it's definitely supercellular, and it's had a pretty good rain curtain at times, but I haven't seen anything that would indicate any lowering up to this point. Also know that this is something to know today and tomorrow, is that with the high levels, and there goes that warning. So that's good. So we'll stay with this just for a few more minutes here. because we don't have any considerable tags left either.
And also the Bay, Saginaw, Midland warnings, and even Shiawassee County severe thunderstorm warnings also were canceled at the same time.
Okay, and so just for tomorrow purposes, we've got a really humid environment. So what you're probably seeing quite a bit of tonight is you're probably seeing a lot of those low-hanging scud clouds, which can oftentimes look like tornadoes. So definitely be aware that you'll want to do the next couple of days to make sure that you're watching to see if any of those rotate or not. If they're not rotating, they're likely just scud clouds. What we will do here is, because the tornado warning is now over and we're not seeing any severe thunderstorm warnings that would suggest the EAS system be activated here soon. We don't want to diminish the threat. But we're to the point where we feel like we could cover this pretty well on our online platforms. So I believe Stone went out there. And so what we will do is we will get you back to regularly scheduled programming. It might briefly pop up on the stream. You're our stream expert. Will it transition to TV really quick?
Yes, so Stone will kind of be in control on making that switch. So you may see a little bit of a jump, but don't worry, we'll be hopping over to our digital desk.
So if you still want weather coverage, we will still be streaming. We'll have our 10 o'clock newscast, our 11 o'clock newscast, and we'll get you back to your programming now.
Now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Well, welcome back. Oh, there's going to be an echo. I apologize for that. Well, welcome back to our Facebook and YouTube streams. Because that tornado warning is done, we are taking over here back on our digital desk. For anyone that's joining us, Saginaw, you're in the clear at this point. So you're in good shape. Birch Run, you're good. Flint, you still got a few more minutes, so just be careful with that. Alex, we're not the NBA game tonight, so you have the wrong channel. Apologize about that. We're the CBS channel. We don't have the NBA Finals, so again, apologize. Genesee County, you do have a line moving through right now. It is, again, right through Flint, so you're probably seeing those strongest winds in Flint right now. And then also into, let's see, real quickly, are you hearing me? Because I see some chats, can't hear anything. Let me know if you can hear me. Again, we're going to take over, of our stream just because we are here. Let me just pull up this one. Hello, can you hear me? Mic check. I assume you can hear me because I heard the echo. So I'm assuming it was just, maybe a stream delay. But again, we still have severe thunderstorm warnings. That tornado warning has been allowed to expire here. So if you live in Caro, you live in Vassar, Millington, Otisville, Davison, Mayville, you are going to see wind up to 60 miles per hour. Thank you, Nick, for letting me know you can hear me. Because again, we tried to transition. We were in our studio. Once that tornado warning expired, we did kick it back to the streaming desk. So I ran in here just real quickly. But with that, real quickly, just trying to pull up our monitor. Because again, we were all over the place with this as we've got over the last hour or so. But again, you have this line of severe thunderstorms that is now moving through western Tuscola County, the heart and eastern portions of Genesee County, and Huron County. So if you're in those areas, you do want to be in your shelter just because this could produce wind up to 60 to possibly 70 miles per hour. Luckily, that tornado warning has been canceled. That cell's still going, but the main line is or has been trying to catch up at this point. And again, if you were tuning into our newscast, or not our newscast, our TV coverage, and you're now on Facebook and YouTube, we're going to continue to cover this line as it moves through the thumb. But if you're in Saginaw, you're in Bay City, you're in the clear at this point. You're in Midland. You have some rain right now, but you're in the clear. Then down towards Chesaning, you're in the clear. Then Standish, I seen that a little bit ago. You're also in the clear with this, but you definitely could have some thunderstorms. We also continue to have that tornado warning just north of our viewing area. So if you know anyone that is up there just make sure they're staying weather aware. But for the TV5 viewing area, we are in, I'd say, decent shape. You're still looking at wind up to 60 to possibly 70 miles per hour.
First Alert Meteorologist Diane Phillips here. Hopefully we have a little bit of audio for myself. So doing that quick mic check. So I just do want to kind of cover for folks who are in Alcona County, that tornado warning that we do have there. So of course that's just a little bit further north, so it is coming into Glenny. So far when I do look at the winds in that, still not seeing anything that's notable. Though I know that there's a lot of people who would be camping in that area, so just be cautious. It's really kind of just coming in, still sitting there west of M65. It's just past Mentor. And so it's going to kind of be headed closer towards Mullen. So yeah, you can kind of see kind of that first middle notch that's right in the center here. Still not looking very strong. It is just tight enough. I understand why they did go with that tornado warning, but for folks who are in that area, so far we haven't had any ground reports. We haven't had anything confirmed, but we do want to still remind people that if you are camping, if you have a shelter, a sturdy shelter available, please head inside there and make sure that you're away from windows and doors. Also, you will want to, if you are stuck outside, maybe you are tent camping, you'll want to get as low to the ground as possible and then cover your head, take your arms, cover your head, your noggin, just to make sure that you can protect yourself from any potential flying debris. The good news is, though, is that we haven't had anything confirmed from that. We're also not seeing it to kind of hold any strength either. So that's kind of the update there for Alcona County. For folks, though, who are watching Alcona County, of course, we'll be covering this here on our stream. We'll also just be watching other portions of mid-Michigan on radar because, of course, we do still have those severe thunderstorm warnings that are moving further east across the thumb. Kind of some of the timing, if you are in the thumb, I anticipate that most of these storms will actually pass by in the next half hour, by 10 o'clock, so 35 minutes. So that's when a good chunk of these storms should then be closer towards Lake Huron or even out over the water by then. So that's what we're just going to kind of be watching here on these cells.
Looking over at our Facebook chat, Tom asks, has the tornado warning for Southeast Bay County expired? It has expired at this point. Again, we're not seeing any tornado warnings in the TV5 viewing area, just one north of us that we'll peek at here or there just because we know we do have some viewers and watchers even on our Facebook and YouTube channels that do watch in that area. But right now, for the TV5 viewing area, our concerns continue to be these severe thunderstorm warnings that are in place still for Genesee, Tuscola, and Huron counties that could, again, be wind up to 50 to 60 miles per hour. There's been a few reports up to 70 miles per hour.
I did get a report from Fenton that the winds picked up quite a bit there.
So I don't know if you could hear our
Yeah, feel free to just pass it.
I was going to say, we're all here. We're all getting mic'd up. There's two mics. So we just have to sort of hold our body against somebody to hear them. But Chief Meteorologist Chris Easlick just mentioned was at Fenton, some reports there. So
the other good news is that some of our severe thunderstorm watches across 127 have just now been canceled. So yes. Clare, Isabella, Gratiot County, that severe thunderstorm watch has just been canceled for the night. So mainly we are just now working with just even the central and eastern portions of Genesee County. I'm glad to see that they trimmed that warning. I do have a friend in Grand Blanc, and they said that they have dark, scary clouds rolling in. So, of course, if you're in Grand Blanc, you're going to have quite a bit of heavy rainfall there, and we're going to continue to see that kind of cluster come right through there. It's kind of sitting there along 75, just past 23. So if you're driving 75 between Genesee, Oakland County, kind of through Holly, you're going to be picking up on a lot of water. And that's just something to also note is it is so humid to where it doesn't take much, and these storms are going to just be able to drop buckets of water.
And just real quickly, I wanted to just highlight, as this line moves through, you may even catch some sun before sunset here on our Wednesday night. So this is our Mount Pleasant camera, just looking west. You're seeing some of that sun peek through. So I also wanted to pull up our downtown Flint camera, just because this is an area that may be seeing some of the heaviest rainfall right now outside of Tuscola County. So real quickly, if that pulls up for us, maybe it was the wrong camera output. let's see. There. So luckily it looks like that line has moved out of downtown Flint. You actually see some sun off in the distance. So that's a good sign. I think if you're in western Tuscola County, you're starting to be in good shape. You still may hear a few rumbles of thunder.
And also just kind of reporting, because we had some of those thunderstorms come through closer towards Gladwin and Roscommon counties. So the mile-per-hour wind gusts that were reported on the sensors there were 40 and 41 miles per hour as that line of storms came through. So, of course, that's still a little bit delayed on the relay from the sensor, getting it out from the National Weather Service, but still 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts were reported in Roscommon, and I believe it was Gladwin was the other sensor.
Okay. And I think that's been like we did see before you were here, Diane, we did see that there were some reports of winds possibly up to 60 to 70 miles per hour west of Saginaw, west of Bay City. I think that's where we're seeing most of our power outages even now, at least in the TV5 viewing area. We'll pull that up real quick. This is our consumers' energy outage map, and you can see right where that line has moved through, we're continuing to see power outages pop up around just north of Bay City, again around Freeland and Midland and Saginaw, seeing some impact. So as the storm moves through, please let us know if you have any damage. Do it safely though. There still is some lightning, especially if you live in Flint. I wouldn't go out there quite yet. Just wait about 5 more minutes and you should be in the clear. Saginaw, you're in the good to go out there. If you do have any damage, take photos, send it in to us. Going over to our Facebook chat, any more storms expected for Genesee County tonight? I'm not going to count it out. We could see some more development from the west. I don't know if any of that's going to be severe. I think most of it should be on the weaker side, but definitely a few rumbles of thunder possible as we continue over the next couple of hours.
I'm just going to do a quick update because that tornado warning for Alcona County is going to expire in a few minutes. The rotation on that is not very well defined. Not looking all that impressive. So I anticipate that they are going to drop that warning for folks that are in eastern Alcona County. You may be wondering, oh, is that going to continue on? I don't anticipate that they will. Of course, they can here in the next couple of minutes make that decision and go for it. But I would anticipate with what we're seeing on radar that once that warning expires, that we will still have strong storms to watch for, but that rotation component is starting to really weaken. And so we'll just kind of watch along that line on radar to see, because yeah, folks, we're just kind of getting a report that the wind's picking up in Au Gres, and that's because that front, kind of that line that we've been watching is starting to move into Au Gres. So though it looks like kind of the heaviest of rain may be a little bit out over the water, but let me actually switch my radar sites to get potentially maybe a little better look. But overall, that front is pushing into Au Gres. So thank you, Natalie, for kind of letting us know. Yep, you're right in line with seeing that push through. Mona, if you don't mind just kind of letting us know what kind of damage you do have in Cuckolin, if you have maybe trees or tree branches down. Obviously, do it safely, please. We do not ask that you put yourself in harm's way. But if you just kind of let us know what you're seeing, where you're at, that would always be a great help.
I did tell Diane this stone, if you want to pass it along through, I'm going to try to get some pictures. But we did have somebody from Alcona County say that storm went just north of him in Ogama County. He did say there was tree damage and some really heavy winds. So even if there's been no report of a tornado, there is definitely a wind component to that.
Thank you, Chris, for that update. So that warning is probably going to expire. That tornado warning for Alcona County should expire here in less than a minute. And then we'll continue on still just with the severe thunderstorm warnings across Huron, Tuscola, and also eastern Genesee County. The warning for Huron County is still going to be active for another 45 minutes. And the Tuscola County one is going to be active until 10 o'clock. So that means we have 30 more minutes.
I think a good trend that we just now are seeing is Lapeer County. You have actually been issued a special weather statement instead of a severe thunderstorm warning. So I think that's a signal that we are seeing at least the southern half of this line weaken. We'll still, again, continue to watch for Tuscola County, Huron County, into Sanilac County. I think we had a question about Sandusky. You don't have any warnings yet. We'll have to see what the National Weather Service decides. If this line is weakening, you may end up just getting a special weather statement, which I think most people can agree that's a little nicer than 60-mile-per-hour winds and severe thunderstorm warnings.
And I would, looking kind of just at what we have here on radar, just because with us having that special weather statement for Lapeer County, for folks who are maybe in Grand Blanc, the heaviest of rain is just now exiting town. So behind it, there's not a lot happening. And that portion that's in Genesee County here, this set of storms, is not the strongest. We do still have some cells that are trying to use that environment, but I would say our best storms are currently in Tuscola and Huron counties.
Definitely. Okay, yeah, so again, if you're just joining us, and again, we're seeing some questioning here, thundering here. Thank you, Tyler, for that report. Just let me know where you're at with that report so we can, get it, look at it as it moves through. Let's take a look at lightning tracker just to show maybe how well these storms are surviving. So you definitely still have some lightning. I think this northern half of the line is still keeping relatively good strength as it moves through. There.
Just let people know still.
Okay, so just real quickly, if you're someone that is looking for more content, our website right now is not working, so you're going to just have to be able to watch us on YouTube and Facebook, which again, many of us are viewing on Facebook, and I think we have a lot of viewers on YouTube. But again, thank you for everyone joining it. Just looking at our chat, Vassar, that line's moved out by now. So you would have had your strongest wind in Vassar. I think you're in the clear right now. Crystal, do we have more storms coming tonight that are severe? I think that chance is going to be pretty small. There was a signal that maybe a few storms could develop from this wave down here in Illinois. Even now it's starting to look like it might miss us south, so that's a good trend. You could hear a few rumbles of thunder though. As we get through tonight, I anticipate the severe chance is going to be very small, and especially with them canceling that severe thunderstorm watch on the western half of the state, I think that's a good signal that we're in a good spot at this point with this severe weather chance, at least for today. Obviously, if you've been watching us, we'll have another round possible tomorrow. Thundering and lightning here in Unionville. Thank you for that report. Could you show the view over Flint? Let's take a quick look. Flint, you should be in the clear if you live in Flint. Davison, that line's moving through your area, but even now it's starting to weaken quite a bit. I think if you're south of Grand Blanc towards southern Lapeer County, still got some strength there, so just be wary of that. If you're traveling along M15, that may be an area that runs into some very heavy rainfall. Atlas Township would be in that sort of area that we may have to just watch out for some heavy rainfall, a few rumbles of thunder, and then getting maybe wind up to 50 to 60 miles per hour. But again, still looking at the main portion of this line. I think if you're in Vassar, you're in Millington, you're good. If you're in Bay City, you're good. Here, I can pull up the camera real quick. Yeah, here's our downtown Flint camera. It is showing things are dry in downtown Flint. You can even see the sun off in the distance. So we're getting in good shape in Flint. If you are someone that's maybe in your shelter or you're just indoors, I think at this point you're in the clear in Flint. Thank you so much, guys, for keeping us all of us folks updated during the severe weather. Helps me stay calm. You're welcome. That's what we try to do. Just try to keep everyone ahead of the storm as it moves in and just keeping you updated as it makes its way through mid-Michigan. But Bad Axe, you're definitely going to start to hear some rumbles of thunder. You're definitely going to start to get some stronger wind. You may even start to get some smaller hail. Let me just quickly pull up our velocity just to see what it's pulling. So it's going to be tough because it is, again, if you live in the Dome, you know, not the greatest area for radar. You're in a radar hole, especially into Huron County, and even now it's really hard to tell what you're going to be seeing. It doesn't look anything too heavy, but like we mentioned, you're very high in the atmosphere at this point, so any strong wind is probably going to be below where that radar beam is sort of detecting right now. But you're definitely going to get some rain. You're definitely going to hear some rumbles of thunder, and it definitely could get windy in Bad Axe. And anywhere throughout Huron County, if you live in that area, you do have that chance right now. Tuscola County, Cass City, you're getting some heavy rainfall. That's actually the cell that had that tornado warning. The main line is caught up to it, though. Kingston, you're going to be seeing some rain here probably in the next 5 minutes. Definitely going to get windy. I'm quickly looking again back to our Facebook chat just for a few questions. Yeah, Millington, it was getting a little hairy here. It doesn't surprise me if you got very windy in Millington and some heavy rainfall in that area. Starting to pick up over here in Essexville just a bit. What about Gagetown? You actually should have some of that heavy sort of heavy wind right now, maybe some rain. You probably have about 5 to 10 more minutes. And even then, it could be weakening on the backside a little bit more, so maybe not as long in those areas. How's Midland looking? Midland, you are in the clear right now. You might get some light rain, and even now that's moving out. At this point, I think Midland, you're in good shape. And I think that has been sort of shown by the National Weather Service canceling that severe thunderstorm warning through Midland, through Bay, through Saginaw, through Shiawassee, now through a majority of Genesee County. It's just that eastern half. East of Flint, Davison, you're going to be seeing your sort of heaviest portion of this system moving through right now. And I think, again, like I mentioned just a little bit ago, a good sign is Lapeer County, you have a special weather statement. So they didn't even extend that severe thunderstorm warning. I think it's a sign that this line is weakening as it moves into the portions of the thumb. Let me real quickly see if we have any more special. And now Sanilac County has actually been issued a special weather statement. So I think really we just have to keep an eye on this northern half of this line that's moving through Tuscola and southern Huron County. But otherwise we are in good shape. I think good thing we're seeing special weather statements instead of severe thunderstorm warnings. Caro, I think you have about 5 more minutes before this sort of main area moves through and you'll be in clear. You will see some more rain in Caro. Just be careful of that. But it's just going to be a light rain. Snow power across the areas of Tuscola County. Thank you for that report. How is Ogama County looking? I think you're most likely in good shape at this point. Just some areas of eastern Ogama having some rain, but now just moving through Iosco County. And let's just see real quick, in Aranac County. So if you're in Tawas City, Escoda, you're definitely going to be getting some stronger wind here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Whittemore, I think you're in the clear. Hale probably have about 5 minutes, so just be prepared for that. And let us know any reports with it at this point. Going back to our Facebook chat, anything about tornadoes tomorrow night? There is definitely going to be a chance of some tornadoes tomorrow night. Again, I think that chance for tomorrow, actually setup will be very similar. It's going to be a very long line of showers and thunderstorms that moves from the west to the east. So just like you saw today with that line, we're going to have that again tomorrow. Our environment may be a little bit healthier. So that's why we're actually worried for all threats as we get through our Thursday afternoon, and it's actually a later threat tomorrow. So this is going to be about the time it starts tomorrow. So that is another concern, is it's going to be starting to get dark, if not dark already, and you're not going to be able to see much for any storms that do develop. Is there a cam for Midland? I can pull up our US 10 camera if I can get it to load for us, just as a quick view if I can find it. So this is our US 10 camera, so sort of in that general location. Let's see, it pulls up. So you're in clear there on our US 10 camera. The wind in Caro isn't too bad, actually. And again, that doesn't surprise me. Like I've mentioned, it does feel like this line is continuing to weaken as it moves to the west, from the west to the east. Again, special weather statements now for both Sanilac and Lapeer County. So I think that's sort of a sign of what the National Weather Service is seeing, is that continuing weakening of this line.
First Alert Meteorologist Diane Phillips back here. We are kind of trying to work through some of the technical difficulties as far as folks streaming on our website. We have kind of work orders in to get that fixed, so we do apologize for that inconvenience. Just note that you can still stream us on Facebook and YouTube to get the severe weather stuff. You will probably see when you go to our website, potentially our sister stations logo. So don't worry, you still have TV5. The system just maybe isn't a big fan of severe weather, so it's not trying to carry our coverage. So hopefully we can get that fixed here tomorrow, but we do apologize for the inconvenience of that. So hopefully, though, if people are looking for that information, that they can go and you can help one another to kind of find that. And Stone, you probably have been talking about how some of these severe thunderstorm watches have been getting canceled along the way. It's really just kind of these last warnings that we have here.
Yeah, I think like I just mentioned before you joined, special weather statements are now in place for Lapeer and Sanilac counties. Those severe thunderstorm watches are starting to get canceled, so that's always a good sign. We'll pull up radar again here, our pinpoint Doppler. But still have some severe thunderstorm warnings. I think Eastern Genesee County, I think you're going to be in the clear in the next 5 minutes. Tuscola County, you still have a little bit to go towards that eastern half with Cass City and Kingston, and then into Huron County. Mostly the southern half, south of Bad Axe, would be that area that definitely has the most activity at this point.
And that severe thunderstorm warning in Tuscola County is only active for 18 more minutes, so getting closer towards 10 o'clock. Of course, in Huron County, that one goes, I believe, until 10:30 or just about 10:15. Closer towards 10:15, excuse me. And in Genesee County, it's really just kind of continuing to be chopped as it goes through. So we now just have the eastern portion of that warning that is still going to be active until 10 o'clock as well. So by about 10 o'clock, as we were talking when we were on air, if you've been on the stream here for a while now, you know, but on air, we said by about 10 o'clock, this is going to be towards the lakeshore or out over Lake Huron, and that is what we're seeing. Asking how Pigeon is looking. Mainly the bulk of the heavy rainfall has kind of passed Pigeon. We're still picking up on steady rain, but kind of the front where we have all the wind and the soaking rain, that is now past Pigeon. So you are still under the severe thunderstorm warning, but you are looking kind of like you're past kind of the worst of it. The worst of it's moving just now into Bad Axe and Ubley, and soon to be in Argyle. Or even Cassidy, Ellington, and Carroll, you're kind of seeing some of that heavier rain, some winds picking up as this comes through. Olivia saying sirens in Tuscola County. Carroll, what is that about? Well, it's not for a tornado. It's not for that. It's mainly for winds. Of course, just a reminder that outdoor warning sirens, there are no kind of rules that are straight across the board. So every kind of county or township or city can go and set their own rules for those. Some of those are also triggered for the entire county in some locations. Some are community to community. So mainly if you are in Carroll or even across Tuscola County, we no longer have that tornado warning there. We don't have any rotation that's really notable here. So we are just seeing kind of that big push of winds within these storms and some heavy rainfall. Going through some of the other comments here, and some folks may want to just also probably go to bed. So if we wouldn't mind actually pulling up the hour by hour, just so we can give people some peace of mind. Though we've kind of given some folks the all clear, we do still have some rainfall for tonight that can come in at times, but considering yeah, looking at that, I'm pretty sure we all say, hey, that cell just stays south of mid-Michigan. So hopefully we can just kind of keep that there. I anticipate, considering we've kind of taken up all the good ingredients from the environment, that our atmosphere is not going to be able to recharge and kind of take over and bring and fire storms up even in the next 6 or so hours. So we still could have some rainfall, but not looking at severe weather. Now this, though, is going to be for Thursday night. So you'll probably be back here hanging out with us tomorrow night because we have a cold front that comes in. Our environment's going to be very similar. So if you had some strong storms tonight, we're Tonight, kind of lacking that trigger, that push upward, and that's what the cold front's going to do. That cold front comes in, and we all know cold air, it's dense, it sinks down. So as the cold air comes in, it pushes kind of downward. Well, then everything that's there has to make room for it. So then it starts pushing everything up. So that cold front kind of gives us that lift motion up to where we can start seeing storms. So that's going to kind of be one more element to the storms that we've had tonight that is going to add in for tomorrow. So we still have a very similar environment, but it's really going to be able to kind of take off. And so that's why we're really watching for our first alert weather day for tomorrow, because we anticipate that to be a little more elevated. That what you're looking at was the storm outlook for tonight, but I anticipate that's going to get wrapped up.
I was just saying, I think in our next update, which there might not be another one, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think they ended up pushing that slight risk as soon as they saw that this line was surviving it across Lake Michigan, because I think that was the biggest question for today was...
Did they update that?
They did actually push that slight risk all the way east, but I'm assuming once we get our next update, they're going to cut it.
I'm almost wondering if, I'll try to talk loud now. I'm almost wondering if the way that system was performing in Wisconsin, it has weakened as it's moved off to the east. It really has.
Yes.
But I'm guessing the starting point was such that it just made it really hard to come down.
Yeah.
I mean, before the 5 o'clock newscast, we had warnings up and down the west side of Lake Michigan. And a lot of those were considerable or destructive tags. And so I didn't see any considerable or destructive tags in West Michigan as it came through. I was kind of paying attention before we got on our live stream. But we saw that good pop of winds that was on the velocity signature, and that verified. Coming through Gratiot County based on some of those power outages. Looks like we've had at least some tree damage in Reese. There was some tree damage, I think, in Foster Township associated near that tornado warning for Alcona County. So there was some damage there. I'm not sure if it was associated with the tornado itself, but certainly some stronger winds. So again, if your way to receive warnings tonight didn't work, make sure you have it tomorrow, or explore what went wrong.
Yeah, and thank you. Again, that was Chief Meteorologist Chris Easlick with us. Flint, I just saw a question. I think you're in the good right now. We just are watching a severe thunderstorm warning in Tuscola County, in Huron County.
We did also get a report out of Caseville for a 46-mile-per-hour wind gust there. So that was recorded, of course, right along the lakeshore. Overall, that kind of keeps it below severe levels, but we did have some questions. Are there any tornado warnings for Bad Axe or Huron County? We don't have any. We only have a severe thunderstorm warning for Huron County. We do not have any tornado warnings for Bad Axe. However, we are seeing the strongest winds and the heaviest of rains come past Bad Axe, headed into Verona next. It's currently in Ubly, Minden City going to be coming up, Argyle as well. So this is just going to kind of continue pushing across. It has weakened as it's moving into the thumb. So for folks who are saying, wow, we're still picking up a lot of wind, we are still going to have some wind here in Bad Axe and in Huron County, but we're not seeing too much as far as rotation would be concerned. I still would be very weather aware with the cell that we have throughout Huron County. It is kind of the best thing that we have still on radar. Maybe just kind of ride it out for another 15, 20 minutes. But it should soon be out of the water. These storms have been moving nearly 50, 60 miles per hour. So it's not going to take long for it to pass by. So if you're hoping to be in bed by 10 o'clock and you live in the thumb, I do plan that you'll be able to make that bedtime here pretty soon.
A few more questions. Do you think Lapeer County is in the clear for now? You are in pretty good shape. That is sort of breaking apart on the south side. You'll get a few rumbles of thunder. You'll get some maybe heavy rainfall, a few, maybe a light breeze increase. But in terms of severe weather, you guys really should be in good shape. You do have a special weather statement, but even that at this point looks like it could be canceled just because that line is now even moving more towards Sanilac County.
And another question that we had was, are we going to kind of be done with the rainfall for the night? We still could have a couple of stray showers here through the night. So if you're wondering, hey, can I sleep with the windows open? I want to get that fresh rain smell coming in. You still could pick up on some water that potentially could blow in, but those showers will be very spotty. So I don't anticipate that everybody will be seeing rain here through the night, but there is still that chance. I would put it at about 20 to 30% that we may have a couple of showers that do come in.
And just one last report before I have to get for the 10 o'clock news. I did get a report from somebody who did go driving around Midland, and they did go to see if the tents and everything else at the Dow LPGA location, Midland Country Club, it sounds like all the tents are still standing, which, considering the wind that was in the area, maybe Midland just got lucky in that part, but sounds like good news there. So might be more sporadic with some of that heavy wind damage. So just I thought I'd pass that one along.
Thanks for that report, Chris. Yeah, that was sort of an area was getting a little bit, hey, how fast that wind going to be through Midland County. Just canceled that. Looks like they just canceled that severe thunderstorm warning through Genesee County. Again, not a big surprise with that. I'm surprised they didn't cancel it earlier. Tuscola County, you probably have about, I'd say 15 more minutes. You'll be in the clear. And then we'll just watch this sort of northern portion that does appear to be weakening quite a bit along, let's see what road this is, M142. So if you live along and south of M142, all the way through Sanilac County into at least northern Sanilac County, you're still going to be dealing with some rain, some lightning, a few gusty conditions, maybe some small hail from this. But again, it is a good sign. It is weakening. We're seeing less lightning. We're not seeing as many reports from those areas.
So mainly just kind of watching here. The thumb is kind of our last spot. I know some of you are wondering, is Bad Axe safe? I would just hold out here for a little while longer before you head to bed. I do not anticipate that we would have any spin-ups or rotation at this point, but still there's a lot of lightning, and considering how fast these are moving through, we will soon be able to give most of Huron County the all clear. They actually did just the far, far west corner, so kind of Seaboing, Owendale is on the line. If you're in Pigeon, you're still under the severe thunderstorm warning, but you're in pretty good shape there. Elkton and even Owendale, even though Kaysville, Pigeon, Elkton, and Owendale, even though you are still under the warning, the worst of the wind and the rainfall is just now moving past you, or has already moved past you. So it's mainly if you are in Minden City, the rain's gonna be coming in. Ubley, Verona, Bad Axe, Argyle. That's mainly where we're kind of seeing the bulk and the cluster of these storms yet. Still picking up on heavy rain in Elmwood and Cass City. And even in Kingston, that's also where we still have the severe thunderstorm warning in Tuscola County, but that is set to expire at 10 o'clock. So I anticipate that will happen on time. That should be pretty good timing even to get these cells out of here. And then we should be able to kind of give Tuscola the all clear. Stone, if you don't mind kind of zooming back out maybe on the sky tracker, there are some storms into Illinois. I just want to kind of check storm motion. We've had some folks that maybe are seeing those further west. So those potentially look to be going a little bit further south. When we were looking at the hour by hour, they weren't really kind of picking up to come in our direction. So that's why we're just anticipating a few showers here for tonight. And then mainly going into Thursday night, we'll be back really kind of watching very similar environment, but even better ingredients. So,
and the one thing I wonder with these storms in sort of northern Illinois is what kind of environment are they even going to move into here in Michigan? We've had this line, I think, perform quite a bit better than what some of the forecasting models that did have this second line making it to us. I just don't know if the environment's going to be really there for these to kick up any severe weather. Now, you definitely could hear a few rumbles of thunder. I think that's going to be Shiawassee County, Genesee County, Lapeer County south. But I don't, as of right now, I don't anticipate we see widespread severe weather like we had tonight with that main line as it moved through.
Yeah, because that's mainly kind of pushing south and east, so I anticipate
Yes.
that more for Indiana, Ohio here during the night. You may have some storms that come in, and that's why we had mentioned some folks who were wondering on some rain here during the night. We still can pick up on some rain, but that severe weather threat, as Stone said, what's left in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So that's why we are going to be kind of keeping it pretty good right now. So just kind of going back though to the thumb for Folks kind of looking for an update there. We don't have any tornado warnings. We still have the severe thunderstorm warning until 10:15 for Huron County. If you are in Tuscola County, your rainfall is mainly out, and also the lightning count is also really starting to drop off there. But pulling in towards, if you're in Bad Axe, the last of the heaviest of rain is almost out of town. So mainly the heavy rain is in Verona now, and then Ubley. So that's almost, of course, towards Harbor Beach and Forestville. So overall into the thumb, I'm still not seeing anything that's really reaching severe levels. Even some of the wind reports that we had out of there were only 46 miles per hour. So that's not going to be enough to cause a ton of damage for us. Of course, if you have that branch that's already been kind of broken down, yes, maybe a 40-mile-per-hour wind gust could grab that. But overall, I don't anticipate any structural damage. So for folks who are just kind of wondering how are we looking in Bad Axe through the thumb, we are overall just beyond a couple of cells here, maybe Ubley, Verona, where we're picking up on some heavier rain, we're going to be in pretty good shape.
I would say it's hard to believe, but those areas, whichever mic's easier, I'm sorry. We only have two mics. Whichever mic I can get, it's hard to believe, but that area that you were just talking about with Ubley, is there were people on the stream with Stone and I earlier who were saying, we don't want the rain tonight. They got 3 or 4 inches of rain in some spots just yesterday. So I wouldn't be surprised with some of the rain that is coming through now, and potentially some of that rain that could be coming through tomorrow. We could continue to see maybe some flooding issues in that area.
Yeah, that was definitely a concern, especially when we started seeing those reports of up to 4 inches. And, you're probably going to see maybe another inch here with that first round, or at least that first cell that had the tornado warning that moved sort of through your area. And then now with this last sort of line that is continuing to move through. I got 3.5 inches last night with that rain. So definitely quite a bit in southern Huron County.
Just kind of taking a look, we're kind of behind the scenes here looking at some of those rain photos that you all shared with us. So some impressive amounts of rain. I can see why you don't want any rain. 3.5 inches is a lot of rain. You really don't have much room to put any of tonight's rain anywhere. So that, yes, is a concern. I can see you not wanting to pick up any rainfall. Still just seeing in that rain that we have between Bad Axe and Verona, just kind of picking up on just some heavy rainfall in that cell. You may have some gusty winds potentially. Of course, we're kind of starting to get quite a bit a ways from radar, but we are finding that still that warning going to be active until 10:15 for Huron County, but that cell is moving eastward here. It's mainly out of Bad Axe now. I would say if you're in Bad Axe, because I know we had a lot of folks who were saying, hey, are we in the clear? Are we safe? If you're in Bad Axe, I would say that you are safe. You're, in pretty good shape to go to bed, of course. Still, I would maybe sleep very lightly here while we still have that severe thunderstorm warning for 15 more minutes.
I would say you can get in bed, you can be on the phone for a little bit, keep watching us while you're laying in bed.
Yeah.
And then at 10:15, you can put it up, close those eyes, and fall asleep.
Yeah, we do have some winds that are picking up just on the west side of Minden City, so you may start with kind of that cell that's just leaving Argyle coming in towards Minden City. You may have some winds that kind of pick up. So we'll kind of see how those really take off, considering that the winds earlier only reached about 40 to 45 miles per hour. I would anticipate that these winds would be kind of close to that.
And I'll quickly add, I think if you're in Tuscola County, you're in the clear now. They're just keeping that severe thunderstorm warning going just till it sort of times out, I should say. I think that was another 10:15. Maybe it was a 10. Oh, that's a rain total. Let's see, does it pull up? 10, so you have about 2 minutes, and I think they'll probably let that expire. Let's see, oh, no, that doesn't help us. Well, oh, it's back on. Maybe we're on our website now.
Oh, yep, we might be there now.
I don't know.
We'll just kind of continue to be watching on our side. Again, apologies to folks who have been trying to watch TV5 on our website and potentially on your Roku and Fire Stick channels, because we did have an issue with one of our providers, and so potentially when you were there, you were seeing our sister station's logo. So don't worry, they are family, but I feel like Mother Nature just didn't want to deal with the severe weather, which I think a lot of us, we don't want to have to worry about it. But of course, we're still here, your First Alert weather team, to kind of cover it. So if you are trying to live stream us, we will, of course, we've already put in orders to get this fixed, because we do anticipate needing to be back here on these platforms tomorrow. So typically when we are streaming, of course, we'll have our next morning stream with Matthew at 10:30 in the morning. So that's going to be here on YouTube, Facebook Live, WNEM.com, the TV5 News app, and then on Roku and Fire Stick. So that is going to be coming up here. So just kind of remember our live stream scheduling for tomorrow. I will also say it's going to be 10:30 a.m. With Matthew, and then at 2 o'clock, Stone will have another update. And then I anticipate at 9, we're going to kind of be maybe setting the stage for the storms tomorrow night. Those are going to be pretty close to when we anticipate seeing those storms come in.
Severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled within Tuscola County. Like I said, you were in the clear. That cell's moved out. I think a good sign is they haven't extended any kind of severe thunderstorm warning into Sanilac County. I think we may have to watch this cell, maybe just eating at any environment that is there towards northern Sanilac County. But even Huron County, obviously, we'll watch it as it gets close to the lake, because sometimes storms, they like to play games with the water and the sort of that temperature difference. But even now, it looks like it is starting to weaken just to an extent as it moves closer and closer to the lake. And I don't know if you're seeing anything.
Our website still is not quite populating to us, so just kind of hang tight. It may also... Obviously, again, we do apologize for this, and we will make sure that our crews have this fixed before tomorrow when it's definitely necessary. We do appreciate folks, though, who are watching us on YouTube and Facebook and making sure that you are getting that information that you need. Just even kind of going in through with our partners from the National Weather Service to see if we can find any additional information. But mainly if you are in Sanilac County between Minden City and Deckerville, that's going to be our best cell that we have currently. So in Huron County, not seeing anything that's all that impressive. It's mainly just south into Sanilac County. So east of Argyle, we're kind of right in between Minden City, Argyle, and Deckerville. If that's like, hey, that's where I'm at, you're probably picking up on a lot of heavy rain, and we are seeing just some winds there. So as kind of that wind picks up, it almost kind of looks like it's a little front that's left from this line. So this line has really started to fall apart into the thumb, but it may just kind of push a little bit. Of course, we're also getting close to the shoreline, so we'll see if we have anything that's able to take off. That's why we actually had the warning there in Eastern Bay and Eastern Bay County going into Tuscola County, is I anticipate that there was a little play that was just coming in. We just got a report out of Port Austin that some pretty strong winds there. So yes, kind of that front just pushed through there. So thank you, Heather, for letting us know, because you would definitely be picking up on those strong winds as of now. They should just kind of be passing through. So Grindstone City's picking up on that heavy rain and the wind now. So that's just mainly what we're watching. This line is almost to the water. I believe by 10:15.
I think it'll be earlier than that. I think we're probably looking at 10:10. You're going to be in good shape. Maybe still have some of the backside, but even now it is really trying to just get out, and they'll continue. And did they just cut it a little bit more? I think Bad Axe, you're barely in it if you're still in it. Even now, I think Bad Axe, you're in the clear of anything. Now, obviously, still have some lightning with that, so just be careful. If you are going to be outdoors, you don't want to play with that risk, obviously. But let's actually pull up the lightning tracker. Quite calmer on the lightning sort of trend, so that's also a good sign that maybe things are just starting to wrap up. But I still think northern Sanilac County, now towards Deckerville, you may be building just a little bit, some energy probably left there just because there wasn't anything before the afternoon to sort of eat away your energy. The biggest thing would have probably been maybe some colder air off the water eating some of that energy, and then quite possibly that cell to the north trying to eat some of that energy.
Yes, and we may have even just a little bit of what was left over from Huron County. It's just trying to find whatever's left of its environment to where that's why it's coming in towards Sanilac County, because as Stone was just mentioning, yeah, we haven't really seen a lot of action there. So this is still just kind of on that line. We were watching this line from Wisconsin earlier this afternoon, and it's just now getting towards the shoreline of the thumb, and it is 10:05. So it is taken quite a bit of time to get there, but once this line passes, we should be in good shape here for the night. If you do pick up on any rainfall, I anticipate it would just be some heavy showers. I'm not anticipating severe weather. Of course, you can tune into TV5 News at 4:30. That's when our Wake Up crew is going to have the latest headlines for you. Matthew will also be having the latest radar scans, and he'll also be prepping you for the storms that we have tomorrow night. So as Chris had mentioned, just kind of make sure that you're prepared to get those watches and warnings again tomorrow. If maybe you had a couple of hiccups tonight to where you were a little bit behind maybe getting that information, just know kind of some of those best ways for getting that are going to be using the wireless emergency alerts. Have those turned on your phone. A weather radio is a great tool. Outdoor warning sirens work, but they're also just not the number one. That should not be your number one source. Of course, the First Alert weather app is great to have those warnings come in. You'll also want something with the time frame tomorrow night for our storms to be 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. You're going to want to have something that will wake you up. So if you are a very deep sleeper, you're going to want to have something that's going to be loud. And that's kind of the perk of having weather radios, is they're very loud and they also flash. So hopefully that can wake you up, because that's going to be kind of the dangerous setting for tomorrow night. Thankfully tonight, for folks who are just going to bed or laying down here at 10 o'clock, we can kind of get settled in. But for tomorrow night, just the timing's so much later, so it's going to be really kind of tricky on our sleep schedule.
And it also might be a higher chance tomorrow. We've talked about this a few times throughout the day and now through our stream. Was today the biggest question for this system was going to be, does it have that sort of system that can initiate anything? Now, I think that line survived a lot better than what was anticipated, so that's something that really changed today up. But again, we're seeing that we have an enhanced risk for Thursday. That is why it is a little bit higher. We were only a slight risk today. We've now jumped up a level for our Thursday. So we're not done with severe weather chances. And this one will be later. I mentioned this earlier. This line tomorrow might not move in till about sunset time. So if we do get tornadoes, we do get strong wind, even some hail, you might not be able to see it. So you're going to want to find ways to stay weather aware for your Thursday because of this sort of higher chance. And what's really leading us in this direction for tomorrow is there's a cold front associated with the system that's going to be moving to our north. That is going to initiate a lot of the lift that's going to be able to produce showers and thunderstorms. I think the question will be, how well does our environment hold together as we get through tomorrow afternoon? But all signs have continued to point that we're in that direction, that we're going to have an environment with that cold front that could have severe weather. And again, just looking at our threats for tomorrow, they are all still in play. So the wind threat is the biggest thing. We're looking at wind up to 75 miles per hour possible, hail up to about 1.25 inches, maybe 1.5 inches, and that tornado chance is higher for our Thursday. So just be wary of that. That chance is a little bit higher as we get through tomorrow night.
Yes, so this is going to be kind of a look at those severe weather risk from that, because we were kind of showing you the maps and what that means. And tomorrow we are at a 3. So typically we're at a 2. So we will be a step normal than what we typically are. You'll kind of see that these are some good parameters to where when we are at that stage 3, how often should you be checking the weather? Every 2 to 4 hours. That's really not a bad idea throughout the day tomorrow to continually open up the First Alert weather app, see what updates, tune into our live streams, get the news during those time slots. Because typically when we have an enhanced, it's not just that it's kind of spotty or short-lived storms. It's just that we have scattered and numerous amounts of them when we have that orange coloring. So this is not a typical setup for Michigan tomorrow. So that's why we're first alerting you. Stone and I, we were talking about having severe weather on this Thursday last week on Friday. So we've been watching this for a while. So don't think that we've been sleeping back here. Stone and I we've been watching this for nearly a week now, just thinking, hey, this has some potential to it. And so we're happy to see that this is at least holding in the forecast. However, it is going to be potentially a kind of scary situation for folks that maybe have some storm anxiety.
And I will say as well, the Storm Prediction Center was also starting to highlight it pretty early. They've been relatively good on getting those sort of highlights out early, day 5, day 6. And when we see a day 6 here in Michigan, I think that's typically a good sign that that chance is going to be higher if everything holds together. We had that for tomorrow. It continues to show up. And it's, again, just that sort of recipe. We have warm temperatures. We're going to be closer to the 90s tomorrow. A lot of upper 80s, but you could get the 90s at times. We're going to be humid again, dew points mid 70s at times. Our wind shear through the atmosphere maybe a little bit stronger as well tomorrow. So that is why those recipes, those sort of threats of hail, tornadoes, and strong winds a little bit higher for our Thursday than what we had today. And you might say, well, today was active. It was, and that is something that again had a slight risk for our Wednesday into Thursday.
Yeah, we're just kind of keeping an eye to conditions here. Just going to kind of check back into Huron County just because we do still have that severe thunderstorm warning for another 5 minutes. So that, though, is going to include Harbor Beach, Port Hope, Grindstone City. I was seeing some of the reflectivity in Grindstone City, and I anticipate that the lake is kind of giving that storm a little bit of a push, that cold air kind of coming in to where we may see a little bit of water picking up right at the shoreline or just out over the water. And then just another update for the folks in Minden City or Deckerville and even kind of east of Argyle, that cell that I was watching there, you can see here in the latest scans that that has started to fall apart. So that's not nearly as organized. Even the wind looked like it had finally passed. So if you are in Minden City, you may have some winds. Forestville, you still have to have the winds and that strong push. Of course, we're still kind of monitoring the chat. A little quiet now, maybe folks going to bed here, but for folks who are maybe Forestville, Forester, Port Sanilac, in Harbor Beach, you're probably picking up on that rain, but mainly if you're along the shoreline of Sanilac County, you still have the strong push of winds and the heavy rain that comes in, and once that passes by, then you're going to be in good shape here for the rest of the night. That's mainly all we have is just the rainfall that we have in Sanilac County, because the rain that we have in Huron County is out over the water for the most part.
Yeah, and even now we just had that severe thunderstorm watch only in Sanilac County. And then, obviously, unless that's a special weather statement, I don't know the color difference, what we have in our system, because it is sometimes different than what the actual maps show. But I think it's a good sign that we're heading in the right direction in terms of severe weather for the rest of the night. Just keeping an eye here for the next, say, 3 minutes before they let that Huron County severe thunderstorm warning expire. And even then, I think you're in the good. Like, still, if you're living in that southeast corner, along M25, as we get towards, let's see, White Rock, Ruth, those will be the areas that I think you could have some of those best chances.
So hopefully we can have some damage reports here soon. It looks like we had a couple of photos that are sent in. So of course, if you are looking to get some news and weather, we also have our 10 o'clock newscast that's live now on the Great Lakes Sports and Entertainment Network. So that's going to be on our over-the-air channel 5.2. And then also we have you can get that on Spectrum, that's channel 199, and Xfinity, that's going to be 1182. So that's what we're going to be kind of watching. Here is for news and weather, but right here we are just kind of watching this last little bit of our severe thunderstorm warning. So that's going to be across Huron County. And that has really started to weaken. So I anticipate that we'll be able to kind of step down from our stream here in a few minutes. We'll kind of hold through this warning here, but
One video to show you.
Okay.
Oh, we do?
Okay, we got one video.
If I can get it to load after this just crashed.
I was going to say, all technology is fighting us here between our website stream and now Chris crashing one of our weather computers by putting a video in. I was confused there. One of our sort of sources went black, and I was thinking it's over. They finally got us.
Right
the
after
vMix computers finally decided it no longer wants this.
A nice view of the supercell. Somebody sent in a video of that. It was pretty impressive.
Okay, we'll see.
Try to get that.
So we are looking to get some of those in. I do appreciate Heather for letting us know, and it is off and onto the lake. So thank you, Heather, for giving us that report there for Huron County. Of course, you were in Port Austin, so happy to see that because, of course, we were seeing in Grindstone City, you know, just kind of right there next to it, that we were
You're gonna have to move me down.
picking up on that storm kind of moving eastward. So glad to see that that is out of the water, or out over the water.
So yeah, we got about 30 seconds before they expire this severe thunderstorm warning. And again, it wouldn't surprise me. Again, if you hear our chief meteorologist, Chris Easlick, we're running through some technical difficulties through the system.
Is crashing the system.
Okay, so we probably won't have a video for you guys. We do apologize for that. I'd almost bet that Chief Meteorologist Chris Easlick will have it on Facebook later. So if you want to go check out his Facebook, he'll have it posted, so you should be able to see that video. It's a pretty cool view of that supercell that was moving through Tuscola County that gave that tornado warning.
Or hopefully we can at least have it on the news at 11.
Yes.
So,
and they just canceled, actually I think that must have been a special weather statement that was in Sanilac County because that also went away. So Sanilac, Tuscola County, you are in the clear. I do quickly, before we get to the end of the stream, just want to mention one last time for anyone that's joining late, we do have another round of this tomorrow. So this is the day 3. Oh, this is day 3. That's one day too far. Day 2, we need day 2 here. Day 2 outlook is now an enhanced risk. So again, a level 3 risk. We typically only get up to level 2. We are in a level 3 risk for tomorrow. It's something we have to watch out for to see if there's any more upgrades to this map. In terms of threats, it's all on the table. You're going to be looking at our main threat, I think, being wind up to 75 miles per hour, hail up to about 1/4 of an inch, and then a few tornadoes are possible. We'll have to see how the environment holds together, but there's been some very good sort of soundings on forecasting models showing that tornado chance, especially on the western half of the state. I think if you have family members, Muskegon, out to Grand Rapids, up to Ludington and Manistee, I would make sure, especially in that area, they're weather aware tomorrow because that line really looks to move in and have some strength. We are also keeping an eye on that 127 corridor, I think, is the best bet. But things can definitely change over the next 12 to 24 hours. So like we've said a few times, we're going to be here on live stream, hopefully not having any technical difficulties as we get through the remainder of the next couple of days. So we want to get you guys to be on top of things. We want you to stay weather aware for everything.
And make sure that you have the First Alert weather app that's free to download on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. So just kind of remember to keep that in your pocket. Check in on that forecast. Every couple of hours, we'll have push alerts going out to the First Alert weather app. But here for tonight, we are going to wrap up our coverage here on our stream. We do ask that you stay first alerted tomorrow, whether that be on the app, on air, online. Of course, we're going to be working the entire team to make sure that you are prepared, considering that storm threat's going to be tomorrow night, closer towards bedtime. But we do appreciate folks being with us here for the last couple of hours. We've been at this now for 2.5 hours, and we're glad to have a lot of you in the comments asking those questions and joining us tonight to make sure that you can stay safe and also get some sleep tonight. So thank you so much again for joining us, and we will look forward to connecting with you tomorrow to make sure you're first alerted for our storm chance tomorrow night.